Everything was exactly as Chen Yang had predicted. 15 minutes later, the 10% threshold is triggered, and the system automatically liquidates the inventory. Soybean futures brought Chen Yang another 13% profit. The funds in the account had now grown to 74.06 million. At this point, there were less than 20 minutes left before the futures market closed. Continue. Chen Yang's voice was calm, but it filled Lin Tian and the other two with excitement. Target soybean futures. Complete the position now bullish by plus 15%. Then liquidate the position and short. The target is 12%. Remember, we must be quick. We need to make one more big trade before the futures market closes. Chen Yang said with a serious expression. Yes, Mr. Chen. Lin Tian, Ma Wenji, and Ning Hao exclaimed excitedly. They used incredibly fast hands to complete the position building and set up the nodes. And just as they finished building their positions, the next second, soybean futures prices have skyrocketed. The major players invested a sum of money, quickly driving up soybean futures prices, and trading volume surged again. Plus 5%, plus 8%, plus 10%, plus 13%. It quickly rose to plus 15%. Trigger node, system forces liquidation. Sell orders kept being placed. The funds were quickly returned. Lin Tian and his two companions used their hand speed to the extreme. Reverse the position to short, complete the position building, and set the node. The entire process was smooth and seamless. The operation was completed before most speculative funds and major players in the futures market could react. 1 minute later, soybean futures prices collapsed instantly and began to plummet. With the avalanche now a foregone conclusion, everyone went on a frantic sell-off, trying to clear out their holdings as quickly as possible. Some people were lucky enough to escape and made a lot of money, while others lost most of what they had earned. But the same applies. There is also a small number of intelligent people. Having anticipated this outcome, I immediately went short. Like Chen Yang, these people profited from both sides, making a fortune. Of course, adhering to the principle of not making the last penny from the market, Chen Yang always forced a liquidation at the critical point. He restrained his greed and used the most rational approach to accumulate capital. Finally, before the futures market closed, the system triggers a forced liquidation at the designated point, resulting in the return of funds. Soybean futures trading brought Chen Yang a 27% profit. The account balance surged again from 74.06 million to 94.056 million. In other words, in the afternoon futures market, Chen Yang made a profit of 36.056 million yuan in just 1.5 hours of trading. In just one day, he grew his wealth from 26.16 million to 94.056 million, an increase of 67.896 million. This speed at which they make money is practically like a money printing machine. Yi Qingye then truly realized just how terrifying Chen Yang's ability to turn stone into gold was. No wonder Qin Dong, the eldest son of the Qin family, was willing to take only 30% of the profits to reach a cooperation agreement with Chen Yang. With Chen Yang's monstrous ability to make money, let alone a 30% profit, even a 10% profit would be an astronomical figure as long as the capital is large enough. Most importantly, Chen Yang's investment cycle is short and the results are quick. This is his absolute advantage, and something that no top financial company in the market can replicate. Chapter 125, School Beauty Yi gives a gift. A Patek Philippe timepiece worth 3 million yuan, the secret chapter. Inside the trading room, the futures market is closed. At Chen Yang's instruction, Lin Tian and the other two immediately began to summarize the financial situation. They quickly calculated today's revenue. Mr. Chen, under your leadership, we made a total profit of 67.896 million yuan today on futures trading. The company's current cash flow is 94.056 million. After confirming the amount several times, Lin Tian reported to Chen Yang. Yes, you all did a great job today. Thank you for your hard work. Now you can all go and rest. When Chen Yang heard the company's profit figures, his expression remained completely calm, as if he had expected it all along. Yes, Mr. Chen. Lin Tian and the other two bowed slightly, then turned and walked out of the trading room. Chen Yang then walked up to Yi Qingye, a smile on his face, and said, "The company made a small profit, so to celebrate, I've decided to take you shopping at the mall. Let's have a good time. Sure, I'm very good at taking advantage of rich people, so don't worry about your wallet when the time comes." Yi Qingye agreed to Chen Yang's suggestion without hesitation. After all, she had personally witnessed Chen Yang's ability to make money. If your boyfriend earns so much money, isn't it reasonable for you, as his girlfriend, to help him spend some of it? Furthermore, Yi Qingye also quite enjoys having Chen Yang accompany her shopping. Even if you don't buy anything. Okay, let's go then. After Chen Yang finished speaking, he took Yi Qingye's fair and smooth hand, and the two walked out of the company gate side by side. Then we drove to the China World Shopping Center. Half an hour later, the Maybach S680 stopped in the underground garage. The two took the elevator to the basement level and began to stroll around. Chen Yang, you've bought me a lot of gifts before. This time let me buy you a gift. How about it? Yi Qingye gently leaned her head against Chen Yang's arm, looking at him with tender eyes, and said, "Great, it's so kind of you to do this. How could I refuse?" Chen Yang smiled slightly and agreed almost without hesitation. Okay, then come with me. Yi Qingye chuckled softly, then took Chen Yang's arm and walked upstairs. A few minutes later, the two arrived at a Patek Philippe watch boutique. Sir, madam, welcome to the Patek Philippe boutique. I am Xiao Wang, your sales representative. I will be serving you two distinguished guests from now on. A saleswoman in her early 30s, dressed in professional work clothes, greeted Chen Yang and Yi Qingye with enthusiasm and spoke to them respectfully. Chen Yang nodded slightly to the female saleswoman. Then his gaze fell on the counter in front of him. The glass cabinet is filled with watches of different styles and designs. Prices vary, ranging from several million to several 100,000. The poor play with cars, the rich play with watches. This statement is almost universally accepted in wealthy circles. In their eyes, luxury watches are not just for telling time, but also a symbol of wealth and status. Yi Qingye brought Chen Yang here because she considered that Chen Yang would need to deal with people from high society in the future. What he currently lacks is a luxury watch that can highlight his status. Patek Philippe is arguably the top choice for the upper class. Chen Yang, just pick one and see which one you like better. Yi Qingye spoke gently to Chen Yang. Good. Chen Yang nodded in agreement. My gaze swept over the watches in the boutique. To be honest, from Chen Yang's personal aesthetic point of view, all these Patek Philippe watches in front of him are very beautiful. But you get what you pay for. Expensive watches are often more exquisitely crafted and have a more sophisticated appearance. Ultimately, it cannot be compared to those cheaper watches. Soon, Chen Yang selected a Patek Philippe Mystery watch priced at 2,999,900 yuan. He looked up and stared directly at the saleswoman. Could you please take this watch out so I can take a look? Upon hearing this, the female saleswoman deftly opened the display case, handed the watch to Chen Yang, and subtly flattered him. Sir, you have excellent taste. This is the pinnacle of Patek Philippe's mechanical watch series, named Patek Philippe Mystery Timepiece. Its current market price is 2,999,900 yuan, and it is the most popular model among young people. Chen Yang looked on with curiosity, holding the watch in his hand and examining it repeatedly. It must be admitted that although this Patek Philippe watch is expensive, its appearance is like that of an extremely exquisite work of art, making it irresistible. Chen Yang, try wearing it. Yi Qingye said softly. Good. Chen Yang nodded in agreement. So he took the watch apart and put it directly on his wrist. Luxurious, grand, and full of fashion sense. At this moment, Chen Yang felt a surge of joy that was hard to describe. Is it pretty? Chen Yang placed his hand on his chest and gestured to Yi Qingye. Of course, is that even a question? Yi Qingye smiled and rolled her eyes at Chen Yang, thinking he was just showing off on purpose. I also think it looks great. It's very much to my liking. However, this Patek Philippe secret of the watch is worth nearly 3 million, which is far too expensive. How about I choose a reasonably priced watch as a gift from you? As for this watch, I'll buy it myself, okay? Chen Yang looked at Yi Qingye and made a suggestion in a low voice. What, you think I can't afford this watch? Yi Qingye suddenly questioned. I didn't mean that. I just didn't want you to spend too much money. After all, this watch is indeed not cheap. Chen Yang shook his head and said gently, Don't worry, I've saved up quite a bit of pocket money over the years. Don't forget, my grandma's family and my maternal grandma's family are all in business. Every year during Chinese New Year, they give me a very big red envelope. I don't usually spend much, but over the years I've saved quite a bit. Although I can't compare to a billionaire like you, I can still easily afford a luxury watch worth 3 million. Yi Qingye smiled and explained to Chen Yang. Upon hearing this, Chen Yang realized that his worries were completely unnecessary. After all, Yi Qingye was not only the apple of the Yi family's eye, but the forces behind her were also beyond his imagination. Power, wealth, status. These are things that others spend their entire lives pursuing, but Yi Qingye already possessed them from the day she was born. I almost forgot. Since you've put it that way, I'll give you a chance to prove yourself, because this is the first gift you ever gave me. It has a very special meaning for me. After Chen Yang understood this, he stopped insisting. Instead, he readily accepted Yi Qingye's kindness. No, you're wrong. This is my second gift to you. The real first gift should be the child in my belly. If it weren't for him, perhaps our relationship wouldn't have developed to this point. I would never have realized that it was God who arranged for you to be by my side, to love me, to take care of me, and to walk hand in hand with me through life. Yi Qingye suddenly reached out and placed her index finger on Chen Yang's lips. The next second, her pretty face flushed slightly, and she said to Chen Yang with an extremely serious expression. Chapter 126, Exchanging Watches and Giving School Beauty Yi a Massage. Qingye, you're right. Everything is predestined, which is why we should cherish it even more. Chen Yang smiled and echoed. Miss Wang, I'll buy this Patek Philippe secret of the time. Yi Qingye looked at the female saleswoman and said, No problem. The saleswoman looked pleasantly surprised. She never expected Yi Qingye to be so wealthy, buying her boyfriend this 3 million yuan watch. Although the saleswoman could tell from Yi Qingye's clothes and her own temperament that Yi Qingye was either rich or noble. But such decisiveness and ruthlessness are still very rare. Qingye, since you're here, let me pick one for you. After Chen Yang finished speaking, without waiting for Yi Qingye to refuse, he took her hand and walked towards the women's watch counter. After scanning the entire store, I finally chose a rose gold watch. Fashionable, luxurious, trendy. Chen Yang had a feeling that Yi Qingye would look stunning wearing this watch. More importantly, this watch matches Chen Yang's secret of the watches very well, almost like a couple's watch. Miss Wang, could you please take this watch out? I'd like my girlfriend to try it on. Chen Yang pointed to the wristwatch and said to the saleswoman, Yes, sir. The saleswoman nodded and quickly took out the watch, handing it to Yi Qingye. Chen Yang, your taste and aesthetic sense are quite good. It's the same piece I chose. Yi Qingye's beautiful eyes sparkled. She took a liking to the watch at first sight, but little did she know that Chen Yang had also chosen the same watch. This made her feel as sweet as if she had eaten honey. That's what you call being in sync. Here, let me put it on you and let you see. As Chen Yang spoke, he deftly placed the watch on Yi Qingye's wrist. The two stood hand in hand, their wristwatches gleaming brightly at that moment. Great, they're a perfect match, Yi Qingye said with a smile. Chen Yang felt the same way, so he looked at the female saleswoman and asked, How much does this watch on my girlfriend's wrist cost? Sir, the starry heart watch your girlfriend is holding has a market price of 1,999,900. The saleswoman replied respectfully, The price is okay, I'll buy it. Swipe your card. The PIN is the last 6 digits of your bank card number. After Chen Yang finished speaking, he took out his wallet from his pocket, took out a bank card, and handed it directly to the female salesperson. My boyfriend's watch was swiped with my card, and the PIN is 991,102. Yi Qingye was equally quick. He took out his bank card and handed it to the female salesperson. The saleswoman smiled and took their bank cards one by one. Then I called over the cashier colleague, swiped the bank card on the POS machine, and entered the payment password. Beep beep. Payment successful. The receipt has also been printed out. The entire process took less than 2 minutes. The saleswoman saw that Chen Yang and Yi Qingye were both handsome and beautiful, and that they were both financially well off, so she guessed that they were not ordinary people. For a moment, the way they looked at Chen Yang and Yi Qingye became even more respectful. A moment later, the saleswoman handed the bank card and receipt back to Chen Yang and Yi Qingye respectively. Sir, please keep your bank card and payment receipts safe. Madam, this is for you. Please accept it. Since Chen Yang and Yi Qingye had put on their watches, neither of them intended to take them off. So the saleswoman packed the watch box, related certificates, warranty cards, and other items into a small, elegant bag and handed it to the two of them. At the same time, he respectfully handed over a personal business card with both hands. Sir, madam, this is my business card. Please feel free to contact me if you have any further questions. We sincerely welcome you both and look forward to your next visit to our Patek Philippe boutique. Chen Yang casually took the business card and handed it to Yi Qingye. Then, carrying a bag in one hand and holding Yi Qingya's slender waist with the other, he strode out of the Patek Philippe boutique. Next, the two of them strolled around for a while. Chen Yang considered that Yi Qingya's belly would swell later, so he specially bought several slightly larger-sized dresses so that she could wear and change them easily. He even went to a nearby pharmacy and bought a lot of medicine, an alcohol lamp, and a box of silver needles. Just in case. It wasn't until evening that I bought some daily necessities at a supermarket before driving back to my OCT villa lobby. Yi Qingya was clearly tired after walking around all afternoon. After throwing his things on the table, he lay down directly on the sofa. Seeing this, Chen Yang suddenly walked over and sat down next to her, speaking gently. "Qingya, you must be exhausted. How about I give you a massage to help you relax?" Yi Qingya turned over and looked at Chen Yang with curiosity in her eyes. Her tone held a hint of skepticism. "You can give massages, really? Whether it's true or not, we'll find out by trying, won't we?" Chen Yang smiled slightly and said, "Okay, let's give it a try. However, if I find out you're lying to me or deliberately trying to make fun of me, you can forget about getting into my bed tonight. You'll have to go sleep in the guest room next door." Yi Qingya did not forget to seize the opportunity to manipulate Chen Yang. "No problem." Chen Yang now possesses basic skills in traditional Chinese medicine. "I am proficient in all 4 diagnostic methods: observation, auscultation, inquiry, palpation, massage, and acupuncture. There was no opportunity to showcase it before. Right now, it's natural to experience the effects firsthand, so that we can have a clear understanding of the situation. At crucial moments, it might bring him unexpected gains. Since you're so confident, let's begin." As soon as Yi Qingya finished speaking, Chen Yang then had Yi Qingya lie down on the sofa with her back to him. "Let your hands hang naturally, place them on her shoulders, then find the acupoints and apply slight pressure. Massage can promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis, and can also improve the flow of qi and blood in the body, thereby relieving muscle and body fatigue." Yi Qingya didn't take it seriously at first, but gradually she noticed a warm sensation emanating from the areas Chen Yang was massaging, which made her feel very comfortable. The fatigue that my body had been experiencing gradually faded away, without me even realizing it. Chen Yang really knows how to give massages. Moreover, the effect is particularly obvious. After realizing the benefits that Chen Yang's massage had brought to her body, Yi Qingya's face immediately showed a hint of shock. "Chen Yang seems to know everything. He's too versatile. How is it? Feels good, right? Isn't it very effective? This is a customized treatment for you based on the major acupoints on the human body and unique massage techniques, guaranteed to have excellent results, allowing you to truly experience the charm of massage in relieving fatigue." Chen Yang said softly, "They're definitely got some skills. Chen Yang, where did you learn all this?" Curious, Yi Qingya asked Chen Yang. "With so many video resources online, learning this shouldn't be difficult, right? As long as you are willing to spend time studying on your own and have a little talent, it is not difficult to become a massage master, or at least to know a little bit about it. And you are honored to be my first customer to receive a massage. But judging from the expression on your face, it seems to be working pretty well," Chen Yang said with a serious expression. After a while, Yi Qingya finally realized what was happening. "Are you treating me like a guinea pig in a lab?" However, to be fair, Chen Yang's talent is indeed astonishing. To master so many skills through self-study alone, that learning ability is simply terrifying. Chapter 127. The Immortal Fragrance Pavilion opens and business is booming. After a massage and manipulation lasting more than 10 minutes, Yi Qingya felt that the fatigue in her body had been completely eliminated. Instead, he exuded an indescribable sense of ease and comfort. In fact, if she hadn't tried her best to control herself, she probably would have let out an embarrassing scream. Fortunately, after Chen Yang finished pressing the button, he did not make any attempt to take advantage of her. Instead, she got up and walked towards the kitchen. Knife skills plus 100, culinary proficiency plus 100. Knife skills plus 100, culinary proficiency plus 100. Knife skills beginner, 30-100 5000, cooking skills beginner, 30-300 5000. I worked for more than an hour. Chen Yang's knife skills and culinary skills have been further improved. There's only a short distance left before breaking through to the advanced level. Dinner consisted of 3 dishes and a soup, a balanced meal. While eating, Yi Qingya could clearly feel that the food tasted even better that evening. So she couldn't help but ask Chen Yang, Chen Yang, did you add some seasoning again? It seems like the food you made tonight tastes even better. Chen Yang smiled slightly and replied, "It's probably because I've been cooking every day lately, and my culinary skills have improved quite a bit. And I have a feeling that my cooking skills will improve to another level in a while. At that time, the taste and aroma of the food I make will be significantly improved." Chen Yang was very clear that although the basic and advanced skills in the system differed by only one level, they were actually quite different. More importantly, after Chen Yang's cooking skills are upgraded to advanced level, he will also randomly receive a mysterious recipe. This means that the food Chen Yang makes based on the divine recipe will taste completely different. Just thinking about it made him incredibly excited. Therefore, Chen Yang secretly made up his mind to improve his cooking skills to a high level as soon as possible. "Really, I can't wait to taste even more delicious dishes you make," Yi Qingye said with a look of longing. "Don't worry, it won't be long. I'll spend more time researching the recipes and cooking methods during this time. I'm sure I'll give you a pleasant surprise." Chen Yang smiled and said with a slight upturn of his lips. On the other side, Xiangxiang Pavilion will officially open to the public tomorrow. Therefore, the publicity work must be done well to ensure that the opening day is filled with distinguished guests and a lively atmosphere. 2 days in advance, Su Menjiao sent greetings to her classmates, relatives, friends, and even elders who had done business with her father, warmly welcoming them to attend the opening of Xiangxiang Pavilion. Su Menjiao even set aside a sum of money to have flyers printed and distributed in nearby business districts and busy streets. The goal was to make Xiangxiang Pavilion an instant success upon its opening. Su Menjiao tried every possible solution and did everything she could. The publicity campaign was launched at full capacity, leveraging all available connections within social circles. Do your best and leave the rest to fate. The next morning, 10 o'clock, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye received a call from Su Menjiao early in the morning and were summoned to Xiangxiang Pavilion. Then they hired a lion dance troupe and a drum and gong team. The storefront was filled with various flower baskets, creating a grand and lively scene. The entire food street was drawn to it. The auspicious time has arrived. Now, we, the 3 shareholders, will unveil the plaque for this newly opened hot pot restaurant. As soon as he finished speaking, Chen Yang, Yi Qingye, and Su Menjiao stepped forward, each holding a red silk ribbon and applying slight pressure. The 3 large characters, Fragrance Pavilion, appeared before everyone. The audience members were shocked to see that the owner of the newly opened store was so young. What surprised everyone the most was that the man was handsome and the woman was beautiful, with extraordinary temperament. One look and you know they must be rich and powerful. "Ms. Su, congratulations on the opening of your new store. On behalf of Donghua Restaurant, I wish Xiangxiang Pavilion a prosperous future." A middle-aged man in his mid-40s, dressed in a suit, followed by an assistant carrying a flower basket, strode toward Su Menjiao, his words carrying a hint of respect. "Miss Su, our Four Seasons restaurant wishes Xiangxiang Pavilion a grand opening." At this moment, another middle-aged man in a suit and tie, who looked like a business owner, strode towards Su Menjiao. A smile appeared on his face, and his words were equally polite. Donghua Restaurant and Siji Restaurant are both renowned high-end restaurants in Shanghai. I never expected that the opening of a small hot pot restaurant would attract the attention of the heads of these 2 major restaurants. It seems that Miss Su, the owner of Xiangxiang Pavilion, has quite a background. Who can argue with that? Just look at the area and location of Xiangxiang Pavilion, as well as its layout and decoration. The initial investment alone would be no less than 5 million. Without some financial resources, who could afford to wait that long? It seems that Miss Su is quite ambitious. If her hot pot restaurant in the food street becomes a huge success, the other businesses on the entire food street will definitely suffer a severe blow. If we don't invite a few high-profile guests to attend the opening, even if the store is packed with customers, it might still be targeted and suppressed by malicious individuals through other means. These days, without some background and connections, who would dare to open such a big store? This Fairy Fragrance Pavilion looks quite grand, but I wonder if the food tastes good. I looked at the bill and the prices aren't too expensive. Why don't we go in and try it? If it's not good, we won't come back next time. If it is, we can hold our company dinners or family gatherings here in the future. Anyway, there are private rooms upstairs, and the decor and environment here are quite nice. The atmosphere reached a fever pitch as several distinguished guests invited by Su Menjiao arrived. Su Menjiao immediately stepped forward to personally greet these distinguished guests. Then we invited them to a private room upstairs. Xiangxiang Pavilion is now officially open to the public. Thanks to effective publicity, mealtime saw a surge in customers. Many guests entered Xiangxiang Pavilion for dining, and the staff warmly welcomed them. The lobby on the first floor was soon packed. As the hot pot broth was served and heated by an induction cooker, its delicious aroma instantly filled the diner's nostrils. It smells so good. This broth is much richer and more fragrant than the broths I've smelled at other hot pot restaurants before. I can't wait to try the hot pot ingredients soaked in this broth. About 10 minutes later, a customer cooked the beef rolls, dipped them in the special sauce prepared by Xiangxiang Pavilion, and then ate them with gusto. It's smooth and tender with a firm texture and a delicious flavor. The taste buds on your tongue explode instantly. It's so delicious that you can't stop eating it. One by one, soon the whole table of guests were eating heartily, without any unnecessary chatter. The scene was truly astonishing. Is it really that delicious? Could they be shills hired by Xiangxiang Pavilion? With this attitude, others also began to taste it. It wasn't until they actually tasted the soup base and dipping sauce produced by Xiangxiang Pavilion that they realized what real gourmet food was. What does it mean to be so delicious that you can't stop eating it? Xiangxiang Pavilion became an instant hit upon opening. From noon until the afternoon, customers came in a steady stream to dine. The table turnover rate is frighteningly high. It's practically always fully booked with no downtime. When Su Menjiao and Yi Qingye learned of this news, they were so excited that they hugged each other tightly. Chen Yang, however, remained calm, as if he had anticipated this scene. Chapter 128, Cash Flow Exceeds 1 Billion Goal. A Business Empire Vision. Chen Yang's confidence stemmed primarily from the system. His novice cooking skills not only improved his culinary abilities, but also allowed him to master the methods and essence of various cuisines, while also acquiring many exclusive recipes. These formulas and exclusive techniques are his biggest trump cards. Otherwise, how is it that Chen Yang, with only a basic level of culinary skills as assessed by the system, can make delicious dishes that are no less than those of hotel chefs? These recipes and secret techniques are indispensable. Therefore, the sudden popularity of Xiangxiang Pavilion was entirely within Chen Yang's expectations. Chen Yang had no idea that Su Menjiao had put in a lot of effort behind the scenes to ensure the smooth opening of Xiangxiang Pavilion. They even went so far as to invite many VIP guests to attend. Fortunately, the reaction was intense. With these people endorsing it and spreading the word, Xiangxiang Pavilion is likely to gain favor among the upper class. Of course, it's too early to say these things now. At this stage, the most prudent development strategy is to focus on building a good reputation, stabilizing the existing customer base, and then gradually attracting more upscale customers. Soon, Chen Yang told Su Menjiao what was on his mind. He was just making a suggestion. Whether Su Menjiao adopted it or not was her business. Anyway, from the very beginning when the cooperation was signed, Chen Yang said in advance that he would only be responsible for providing the formula and technology, and he would not be involved in the management of the stores. Chen Yang's original intention in opening Xiangxiang Pavilion was not to make a lot of money from it. His main purpose was to engage in some physical businesses and use this platform to build his own social circle and network of connections. Based on Chen Yang's observations, Su Menjiao is definitely a shrewd businesswoman. That's why they offered kind advice. Su Menjiao, having been exposed to business since childhood, had a high sensitivity to it. She quickly understood what Chen Yang meant and nodded in agreement. Afternoon, Chen Yang arrived at the company. He walked into the office and then sat down in the office chair. Turn on your computer and log into your stock trading software account with your password. SD Huatong stock has finally reached its peak. After a week of consecutive limit-up moves, Chen Yang had bought up all the shares. Total cumulative profits reached as high as 140%. Chen Yang invested 650 million yuan and made a profit of 140%, with a market valuation of 910 million yuan. To ensure there are no unforeseen circumstances, it's best to secure the profits as soon as possible. Who knows, there might be some big changes when the stock market opens next Monday. Since tomorrow is the weekend and the stock market will be closed, you will have to wait until next Monday to trade, to avoid any unforeseen complications and accidents. After pondering for a few seconds, Chen Yang finally decided to sell all the SD Huatong shares in his account before the stock market closed in the afternoon, cashing out and leaving the market. Do it as soon as you think of it. Over the next 20 minutes, to avoid large sell orders that could cause market panic and lead to a stock price collapse, Chen Yang, he shipped the goods in batches, and after continuous transactions, he successfully cleared out his inventory. At this time, 910 million yuan lay quietly in his personal investment account. With the addition of nearly 120 million yuan in Qingyang Financial Investment Company's account, Chen Yang currently has more than 1 billion yuan in readily available funds. Such a massive cash flow exceeds the valuation of a listed company. Chen Yang, on the other hand, only took half a month to complete the task. Such terrifying money-making ability is simply astonishing. Of course, Chen Yang was not satisfied with this. His goal is to build a business empire from scratch, placing himself at the pinnacle of power and wealth. This path is destined to be difficult, even though he possesses a system and abilities that are beyond the imagination of ordinary people. The world's wealth and resources don't increase out of thin air. They only transfer in various forms. When Chen Yang accumulates wealth, the wealth received by others decreases accordingly. The game between capital may be bloodless, but it follows the law of the jungle. The strong prey on the weak. For the sake of profit, they will stop at nothing, even trampling on the law and placing themselves above all rules. They might even unite to fight against Chen Yang. When faced with the onslaught of capital, going it alone is never the best solution. The Wolf King is feared not only because of his own strength, but also because of the countless wolves that follow him. With a single command, he can control these wolves to launch an attack. Chen Yang wants to go further and achieve greater heights. You need to gather a group of elite soldiers around you to fight for you. Secondly, there is the need to form a community of shared interests that can play a significant role at critical moments. Only by being able to attack and defend, advance and retreat as needed, can one strategize effectively and readily accept good advice. The road ahead is long and arduous, but Chen Yang is already prepared and will continue to work hard for it. Night, the lobby of a detached luxury villa owned by an overseas Chinese. Chen Yang personally cooked a large table of delicious dishes. Knife skills plus 100, culinary proficiency plus 100. Knife skills plus 100, culinary proficiency plus 100. Knife skills beginner, 30-300 5000. Cooking skills beginner, 30-500 5000. At this moment, a noise came from the villa gate. Soon, Yi Qingye and Su Menjiao walked in. The two women smelled a fragrant aroma in the air and quickened their pace to the restaurant. Looking at the delicious food in front of him, he immediately showed an excited expression. Qingye, your Chen Yang has cooked such a delicious meal for you again. You're living a life that's far too good for you, aren't you? Su Menjiao, her eyes filled with jealousy, grabbed Yi Qingye's arm and said, "It's all right. It's just that I'm afraid I'll gain weight and lose my figure if I eat all this delicious food every day." Yi Qingye smiled sweetly and said in a Versailles-like tone, "You're getting the benefit but still acting innocent. Do you know how much it would cost to taste Chen Yang's cooking skills elsewhere? You eat for free every day and then say you're afraid of gaining weight. It's just too Versailles." Su Menjiao was so angry that she trembled all over. "All right, that's enough. I'll go help Chen Yang with the cooking, and we can start preparing dinner soon." After saying that, Yi Qingye then ignored Su Menjiao and strode towards the kitchen. Soon, she saw Chen Yang busy in the kitchen and took the initiative to open her arms and put them around his waist. "Chen Yang, thank you for your hard work." Chen Yang turned his head and saw Yi Qingye hugging him, her face full of emotion. He couldn't help but smile. "Don't just thank me verbally, give me a real reward." Upon hearing this, Yi Qingye looked up and met Chen Yang's playful smile. The next second, she placed her right hand on Chen Yang's neck, applying slight pressure. At the same time, she stood on tiptoe and pressed her lips against Chen Yang's cheek, giving him a sweet kiss. "Is this enough?" A faint blush appeared on Yi Qingye's stunningly beautiful face. She lowered her head, her face filled with shyness, and dared not meet Chen Yang's gaze. It was precisely her coy and alluring demeanor that stirred Chen Yang's heart. "Is this all the reward you're giving me? That's incredibly stingy. How about I teach you myself?" Chen Yang wiped the water off his hands. Then he quietly wrapped his arms around Yi Qingye's slender waist. The next moment, he leaned forward and forcefully kissed Yi Qingye's luscious red lips, which resembled rose petals. Even the air in the kitchen seemed to have become sweeter. This atmosphere lasted for a long time. After a long while, their lips parted. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye looked at each other, and sweet smiles appeared on their faces. Chapter 129. Xiangxiang Pavilion's daily turnover exceeds 100,000, with a gross profit margin as high as 80%. Su Menjiao sat in the restaurant for about 10 minutes, but her best friend Yi Qingye was nowhere to be seen. So out of curiosity, I went to the kitchen. As soon as they arrived at the door, they saw Chen Yang and Yi Qingye pressed tightly together, passionately kissing. My goodness! The usually aloof and cold school beauty has now completely fallen for Chen Yang. In this world, there really is one thing that can subdue another. However, Chen Yang is indeed capable. He's handsome, has a great personality, is incredibly talented at stock trading, and is also an excellent cook. So outstanding, not to mention Qingye, even I can't help but fall for her. What a pity, how come I never met such a good man? Su Menjiao sighed inwardly. After thinking it over, she turned and walked towards the restaurant. She dared not peek at Chen Yang and Yi Qingye being intimate here. If she were discovered, she would be mortified. Fortunately, it didn't take more than a few minutes. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye tidied their clothes and walked out of the kitchen as if nothing had happened, eventually sitting down at the dining table. Chen Yang, Xiangxiang Pavilion was incredibly busy today. Do you know how much revenue we made by the time the store closed tonight? Su Menjiao looked excited and asked Chen Yang, do you have 100,000? Based on the scale of reception and consumption level of Xiangxiang Pavilion, Chen Yang made a rough estimate and quickly came up with a figure in his mind. So he asked Su Menjiao, You even guessed that? Upon hearing this, Su Menjiao's face was filled with shock, and she looked at Chen Yang with disbelief. It's not a guess, it's an estimate. Based on the fact that the main hall of Xiangxiang Pavilion is always full, the table turnover rate, the average spending per person, plus the spending in the VIP private rooms on the second floor. The amount was determined by taking all these factors into account. Even if there is some error, it won't be much different. Chen Yang shrugged and said casually, Impressive, you truly deserve to be called a financial genius. These numbers are so easily calculated in your eyes. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have suspected that you had received the news from Qingye beforehand. Su Menjiao couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration for Chen Yang. That's genius. He's incredibly smart. It's like he's got a cheat code. So I guessed right? Chen Yang asked out of curiosity. That's right, to be precise. Xiangxiang Pavilion's total revenue today is 108,450 yuan. Typically, the gross profit margin of hot pot restaurants is 60–70%. But because your soup base and dipping sauce taste so good, I've priced it 12% higher than other hot pot restaurants on the market. Therefore, after deducting costs, our Xiangxiang Pavilion's actual gross profit is around 80%. Based on total revenue, our daily profit is 86,000 yuan. Su Menjiao's tone was extremely excited. Before this, although she believed that Xiangxiang Pavilion would become a hit, she never expected that the daily profit would be so high. Even if Xiangxiang Pavilion's business declines significantly in the future, judging from the current trend, its monthly profit will be at least 1.82 million. In just a few months, you can earn back your initial investment. Such a rate of profit is practically the pinnacle of the catering industry. The profits are indeed considerable. Menjiao, you have to work hard to run this business. After a while, you might be able to open another branch. At that time, I can consider offering other formulas to help your business reach new heights. Chen Yang smiled slightly and suddenly dropped a bombshell that shocked Su Menjiao. What, you have other formulas? Chen Yang, are you sure? Upon hearing this, Su Menjiao was instantly stunned. Clearly, this news was completely unexpected for her. Of course, I wouldn't joke about something like that with you. After all, this concerns our great business of making money. We can be careless about other things, but we must be cautious about this. Chen Yang said with a light laugh. No problem, don't worry. I can assure you that Xiangxiang Pavilion's business will only get better and better in the future. Once the funds are recovered and Xiangxiang Pavilion's development is stable, you must come up with a new formula and cooperate with me. Su Menjiao patted her chest and said with anticipation, Don't worry, I keep my word. Chen Yang nodded and replied with a serious expression. After dinner, Yi Qingye and Su Menjiao sat on the sofa in the living room, whispering to each other. Chen Yang went into the study, took out his phone, and dialed his father Chen Shan's number. Meanwhile, in Linjiang County, Nanyang City, Shuoxi Yunting residential area, the Chen family, Chen Shan and his wife Wu Yan were sitting on the sofa watching TV and chatting about everyday things. Suddenly, I received a call from my son, Chen Yang. Chen Shan quickly pressed the answer button. Chen Yang's voice immediately came from the other end of the phone. "Dad, have you and Mom eaten yet?" Chen Shan seemed to snap out of a daze and quickly replied, "Yes, your mother and I have eaten. Son, I was just about to tell you something. Didn't you send me some money last time so I could buy a house in the county town?" Dad looked at several properties and finally decided on a 380 square meter luxury apartment in the Shuixi Yunting community, developed by Xinglong Real Estate Group. This is a prime location in the county town. The environment is great, the transportation is convenient, and the supporting facilities are extremely complete. The price is much cheaper than in first-tier cities. Most importantly, it's quite close to the school where Dad works. So our family just moved in. When are you planning to bring your girlfriend home? After listening, Chen Yang smiled and replied with a slight curve to his lips. Dad, buying the house is enough. I called you just about this. My girlfriend and I plan to fly directly to Nanyang tomorrow morning and arrive home around the afternoon. I'll call you in advance. Upon hearing this, a hint of surprise flashed across Chen Shan's face. What, you two are coming back tomorrow? Okay, your mom and dad will prepare the room for you in advance, so it will be convenient for you to come back and stay. Chen Yang smiled and said, Well, I don't have anything else to say, I just wanted to let you know in advance. Afterwards, Chen Yang chatted with his mother, Wu Yan, for a while before hanging up the phone. By the time Chen Yang walked out of the study, Su Menjiao had already left the villa. 10 p.m. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye finished taking a shower. The two lay on the bed, embracing each other tightly. Qingye, I have something to tell you. I booked a flight for tomorrow morning from Shanghai to Nanyang, and I plan to take you back to my hometown to meet my parents. You're not angry, are you? Chen Yang lowered his head, staring nervously at Yi Qingye, and asked, No way, didn't you tell me about this before? Since I have already promised you, I will not break my word. Besides, it's just meeting your parents, right? I'm so outstanding, do you think I'm not presentable enough? Yi Qingye deliberately put on a stern face and pretended to be angry as she spoke to Chen Yang. His appearance was completely different from his usual self. Instead of making Chen Yang angry, he found her even more charming and lovely. Chapter 130, Flight from Shanghai to Nanyang. Taking my school beauty girlfriend back to my hometown. I would never have meant that. Just now, I called my dad and told him I was bringing my girlfriend home, and they seemed very happy. But I don't want to put you in a difficult position, so I wanted to ask what you think. Chen Yang gently stroked Yi Qingye's hair and spoke in a soft tone. Chen Yang, I know you've always cared about my feelings, but I want to tell you something. I, Yi Qingye, am not as pretentious as you think. You dared to face my parents for my sake and the baby in your belly, so how could I hold you back? Don't worry, although I don't have experience in this area, I believe your parents will definitely like me. Yi Qingye put her arm around Chen Yang's arm and said in a gentle voice, Okay, let's go to bed early then. I'll pack my bags a little after I get up tomorrow, and then we'll set off. Chen Yang lowered his head and gently kissed Yi Qingye's forehead. He turned off the light on the bedside table and then pulled Yi Qingye close as they drifted off to sleep. Nothing more was said that night. The next morning at 7 o'clock, Chen Yang opened his eyes and was about to get up when Yi Qingye also woke up. Our flight is at 9:30 and we bought first-class tickets. We still have plenty of time so you can sleep a little longer. Chen Yang said to Yi Qingye with a smile. It's okay, I've had enough sleep. Yi Qingye shook her head, politely declining Chen Yang's offer. After getting up and washing up, Chen Yang went out of the room, went to the kitchen, heated up a cup of oat milk, and paired it with a sandwich and ham sausage. After having breakfast, the two began to tidy up. Chen Yang changed into casual clothes, wearing the Patek Philippe Mystery watch given to him by Yi Qingye on his wrist, and a pair of white sneakers on his feet. My hair was styled simply, making it look cleaner and more refreshing. Her overall appearance and demeanor instantly improved by several levels. Yi Qingye changed her usual style and put on more fashionable and youthful clothes, making her look more dignified and elegant. She wore light makeup with her eyebrows slightly shaped, which combined with her stunningly beautiful face gave her an aura of great presence. Anyone who doesn't know her would definitely think she's a popular celebrity in the entertainment industry at first glance. After finishing these tasks, Yi Qingye began packing her luggage. Change of underwear, cosmetics, skincare products, shoes, and other miscellaneous items. With a quick pack, the suitcase was stuffed full. On the contrary, Chen Yang traveled light, with just a few sets of clothes, 2 pairs of shoes, and a laptop. Chen Yang, do you think I should buy some gifts for your parents and younger brother as a greeting? Yi Qingye walked up to Chen Yang and stared at him, admiring how handsome he looked today. So she immediately reached out and put her arm around his, asking him affectionately, "Can, but there's no need to buy it now. Although Nanyang is not as bustling as Shanghai, it has many large shopping malls. We can pick out gifts for them after we get off the plane." Chen Yang smiled slightly and offered his suggestion. "Okay, I'll do as you say." Yi Qingye smiled and nodded. Chen Yang booked a private car to go to Shanghai Airport. 15 minutes later, a luxury car was parked in front of the villa. After loading their luggage into the trunk, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye got into the back seat, and the car headed towards Shanghai Airport. An hour later, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye arrived at the airport terminal. After passing through security, we arrived at the VIP lounge. The large lounge was nearly empty, with only a handful of people present. They couldn't help but glance at Chen Yang and Yi Qingye, a handsome man and a beautiful woman with an elegant demeanor, a few times. Fortunately, they didn't go forward to disturb them. After resting for about 15 minutes, a flight attendant came to inform them and led them to the first-class cabin. To be honest, this was Chen Yang's first time flying first class. He enjoyed various privileges and more prestigious services that he had never experienced before. They say money is the root of all evil. But now, Chen Yang feels that having money is just too awesome. The journey was smooth. Upon arriving in first class and taking my seat, a flight attendant warmly approached me to ask if I needed a drink or a blanket. Chen Yang had no doubt that the other party might have other motives. But when the flight attendant saw Yi Qingye's looks and figure sitting next to Chen Yang, an awkward smile immediately appeared on her face. This scene made Yi Qingye very jealous. "Chen Yang, it seems you're quite charming. Even the flight attendants keep giving you flirty glances and flirting with you. Luckily, I went back to your hometown with you. Otherwise, you probably would have had a few more female companions on the plane, right?" Chen Yang felt wronged by Yi Qingye's teasing. It's clearly not his fault, so why is everyone putting all the blame on him? Is being handsome a mistake these days? Of course, Chen Yang only dared to think about it. "Qingye, I assure you, I have absolutely no improper thoughts about these flight attendants. In my heart, they are just ordinary girls, and they are not comparable to a beauty like you who is as beautiful as an angel and can topple kingdoms." Chen Yang quickly grasped Yi Qingye's fair and smooth hands and said sincerely, "HMPH glib tongue. However, you'd better be serious. If you dare to secretly flirt with other women behind my back, you'll see how I deal with you." Yi Qingye pouted and said with a slightly arrogant air, "All right, don't be angry. Catch up on some sleep, and when I wake up I'll be in Nanyang City." Chen Yang spoke gently, offering words of comfort. The plane took off smoothly very quickly. After a 3-hour flight, the plane landed safely at Nanyang Airport. Stepping out of the cabin, I followed the VIP passage to the airport reception area. Since Chen Yang had arranged a private car in advance, a middle-aged driver in his 40s had been waiting at the door for a long time. Seeing Chen Yang and Yi Qingye pushing their luggage out, the driver opened the car door, got out of the car immediately, and jogged over to them. "Are you Mr. Chen, whose mobile phone number ends in 6217? The driver approached Chen Yang, bowed slightly, and asked respectfully, "It's me, you must be Master He." Chen Yang nodded slightly and said, "Yes, Mr. Chen." The driver replied respectfully, "Okay, that's good. First, load our luggage into the car, then drive us to MixC World Shopping Mall in the city center. We need to buy some things. After that, they will take us to the Shuixi Yunting residential area. Is everything all right?" Chen Yang said with a smile. "No problem. Everything will be done as Mr. Chen wishes." The driver was very nice. The cost of a private car is not low, so his service attitude naturally has to be good. After putting the luggage in the trunk, the driver opened the car door and gestured for Chen Yang and Yi Qingye to sit in the back seat. Then he closed the car door and sat back in the driver's seat. I started the engine and drove the car towards MixC World Shopping Mall in the city center. About half an hour, we've arrived at MixC World Shopping Mall. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye got out of the car, and the two walked hand in hand toward the gate. Next, they are about to embark on a big shopping spree. Buy gifts for Chen Yang's parents, younger brother, grandparents, and other relatives and elders. Chapter 130. 1. Shopping at the mall, Shuixi Yunting residential area. Yi Zhaohua meets the parents. On the plane, Chen Yang revealed to Yi Qingye that his grandfather, Chen Exing, had 3 sons. My uncle, Chen Zhang, is the vice principal of the county's #1 middle school. The father, Chen Shan, was the second child in the family and worked as a Chinese language teacher at an ordinary junior high school. My third uncle, Chen Xian, runs a small shop in town. My family and relatives get along well and visit each other frequently. The year Chen Yang took the college entrance examination, he became the top science student in Nanyang City. His eldest uncle and third uncle gave him a big red envelope at a family gathering and told him to study hard, leave Nanyang, and bring honor to the family. He remembered all these kindnesses in his heart. He only hoped that one day, when he achieved success in his career, he could repay them even better. Chen Yang went from being a test taker in a small town to becoming a genius student in the finance department of a university in Shanghai. Along the way, he endured a lot of hardship and put in countless hours of sweat and effort, all for the sake of making a name for himself and making his parents and even his entire family proud. It was precisely because Chen Yang had this goal that he studied so hard and even worked part-time during his spare time, hoping to gain more opportunities for learning and growth through his own efforts. Even if Chen Yang hadn't obtained the system, with his workaholic attitude and indomitable spirit, he would have eventually made a name for himself. However, Chen Yang may face a more difficult and tortuous journey in this process. However, now, the light boat has already passed 10,000 mountains. Chen Yang has become successful, but he will not forget the path he came from. He would never look down on his background or the relatives and elders who treated him so well just because he became successful. On the contrary, a drop of water in need deserves a spring in return. This is the principle that Chen Yang follows. After learning Chen Yang's true thoughts, Yi Qingye felt incredibly proud. As expected of the man I chose, he is loyal, righteous, and grateful. Based on this character alone, Chen Yang is far superior to some people. The two shopped for over an hour and bought quite a few things: high-end cigarettes and alcohol, tea, skincare products, cosmetics, nutritional supplements, massage devices, clothing, shoes, new mobile phones, etc. As a result, the two of them simply couldn't carry that much stuff. Fortunately, money can make the devil turn the millstone. Chen Yang called a Lalamove truck and asked the drivers to help him move the goods, and also asked them to take him directly to the Shuixi Yunting residential area. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye, on the other hand, got into a private car and headed towards the Shuixi Yunting residential area. 4:30 p.m., the car arrived at the entrance of Shuixi Yunting residential area. Chen Yang took out his phone and dialed his father Chen Shan's number. "Dad, I'm back. I'm at the entrance of the complex. Could you tell the property management to let us in?" On the other end of the phone, Chen Shan's voice was extremely excited. "No problem, I'll contact the property management right away and have the security guards let you through." A few minutes later, the security guard at the gate only opened the gate remotely after confirming that Chen Yang was a family member of the homeowner. The private car and the Lalamove truck drove one after the other toward the building where the Chen family lived. Chen Shan immediately called his wife Wu Yan and youngest son Chen Guang, and the three of them rushed downstairs in the elevator. Soon, Chen Shan and his family spotted a high-end business vehicle parked in front of them. The rear door opened. Chen Yang stepped out of the car, a smile on his face, and looked at his parents and younger brother. "Dad, Mom, little brother, I'm back." Chen Shan, Wu Yan, and Chen Guang all stared at Chen Yang, shocked by his attire. It took the three of them several seconds to confirm Chen Yang's identity. "Son, is it really you? You've changed so much. Your mother and I almost didn't recognize you." Chen Shan stared intently at Chen Yang, and after a long while he slowly spoke. "Dad, is it really that much of an exaggeration? I just changed my clothes and hairstyle. It's not like I went abroad for plastic surgery. How could you not even recognize your own son?" Chen Yang shrugged and smiled lightly. "Son, your dad is right. Your outfit and the aura you exude are a complete transformation compared to when you went to school before the new year. What exactly did you experience in Shanghai? How could such a huge change have occurred in such a short time?" Wu Yan's reaction was not much better than Chen Shan's. She understands the pressure her eldest son bears far better than her own husband. Privately, she often talked to Chen Yang, telling him not to put too much pressure on himself. As long as he was safe and happy, even if he didn't achieve anything great in the demon realm, they, as his parents, wouldn't blame him. After all these years, Chen Yang has never relaxed even for a moment because of his excellent results in the college entrance examination. His hard work and fighting spirit are evident to his parents. Sometimes they felt sorry for Chen Yang, The child is still so young, yet he carries such a heavy burden on his shoulders. I'm really afraid that Chen Yang will break down one day. Mom, the reason I've changed so much is mainly because I've started making money. If you eat well, sleep well, and dress well, you will naturally be more energetic, and your aura will also change accordingly. Chen Yang smiled slightly and explained. The words were spoken. Chen Yang walked to the other side and opened the car door himself. Qingya, we've arrived, come down. Upon hearing this, Yi Qingya slowly stepped out of the car. Chen Shan, Wu Yan, and Chen Guang all looked at them with curiosity. The next moment, his gaze fell on Yi Qingya. Just one glance. The Chen family of three were astonished. Yi Qingya was dressed in fashionable and trendy clothes, but she didn't expose much skin, so she looked quite conservative. But she exudes a noble and aloof aura. Dignified, delicate, and elegant. Anyone with a discerning eye can tell that she is a lady from a respectable family, especially Yi Qingya's stunning beauty, which is even more beautiful than those popular celebrities in the entertainment industry. It lasted for a full 10 seconds. Chen Shan, Wu Yan, and Chen Guang were all stunned and couldn't come to their senses for a long time. Seeing this, Chen Yang couldn't suppress a smug smile. He took Yi Qingya's hand and walked slowly to his parents, saying softly, Dad, Mom, younger brother, let me introduce you. She is my girlfriend, Yi Qingya. At the same time, she is also my schoolmate, a senior student in the Department of Foreign Languages at Shanghai University. After saying that, Chen Yang then looked at Yi Qingya and introduced her. Qingya, this is my dad Chen Shan, my mom Wu Yan, and my brother Chen Guang. Upon hearing this, Yi Qingya smiled and took the initiative to greet the three members of the Chen family. Uncle, aunt, brother, hello, my name is Yi Qingya, and I am Chen Yang's girlfriend. Since this is your first visit, I brought some gifts which are all in the car. After saying this, Yi Qingya said to Chen Yang, Chen Yang, have the workers help you move your things to your house. That way, your parents and brother won't have to do it. Chen Yang nodded and replied, Okay, that's what I think too. After saying that, he strode towards the driver's window of the Lalamove truck and said to the driver, Excuse me, could you please help me move all my things upstairs? I'll give you some extra money for your trouble later. No problem. I guarantee the boss will be satisfied. Upon hearing that Chen Yang was offering more money, the drivers and movers immediately broke into smiles. They immediately got out of the car, opened the doors and trunk, and began unloading the gifts Chen Yang and Yi Qingya had bought. This scene instantly attracted the attention of the Chen family of three. Chapter 132, The Chen family is shocked. Yi Qingya fiercely protects her husband. Chen Shan, Wu Yan, and Chen Guang, a family of three, were still reeling from Yi Qingya's beauty and charm. The next second, they saw Lalamove drivers and movers carrying large and small bags of various valuable gifts walking towards them. Dad, Mom, let's go upstairs first and move our things back. Let's sit down and talk about the rest later. Chen Yang smiled slightly and said to his parents, Okay. Seeing this, Chen Shan said no more. They took Chen Yang and Yi Qingya and went upstairs in the elevator. Before long, the elevator arrived at the entrance of the luxurious penthouse. Chen Shan opened his door and had the craftsman carry all the gifts inside, piling them up like a small mountain on the open ground. Shortly after, Chen Yang immediately took out his phone and settled the bill with the drivers. After the masters left, he took Yi Qingya on a tour of his home. It must be said that Chen Yang's parents have a pretty good eye for talent. This luxurious penthouse is top-notch in terms of decoration, layout, and design style. After Chen Yang and Yi Qingya toured the place, they found that it was somewhat inferior to the detached luxury villas in OCT, Shanghai. However, in a small county town, this type of apartment is considered to be of very high quality. Not only is it spacious enough, but it also has a lot of private space, which is more than enough for the whole family to live in. After a while, Chen Yang led Yi Qingya to sit down on the sofa in the living room. Chen Shan and Wu Yan, a married couple, had been waiting there for quite some time. Qingya, may I call you that, Auntie? Wu Yan smiled kindly and looked at Yi Qingya with gentle eyes, asking a question. Sure. Yi Qingya smiled and replied, Qingya, would you mind telling me when you and my son Chen Yang started dating? My son had never told the family about something this important before. His father and I only heard about it from him last week. How could you keep such a big thing from your family? Wu Yan asked with concern. Yi Qingya was taken aback. Just as she was wondering how to respond, Chen Yang quickly took her hand and gave her a reassuring look. The next moment, Chen Yang spoke directly. Mom, you can just ask me about this. Qingya and I have been dating for half a year. We didn't tell you before mainly because we are both students and have a lot of academic pressure. We didn't want to attract too much attention. Not only you guys, almost no one at school knows that we're dating. Look, I've made quite a bit of money from stock market investments recently. Kingya and I are about to graduate, so I thought I'd bring her back to meet you. After that, we plan to bring you to Shanghai for a few days and hold an engagement banquet there to finalize my marriage with Kingya. These words were spoken. Chen Shan and Wu Yan looked shocked. Son, what did you say? You and your girlfriend are getting engaged. How could this happen so suddenly? Do her parents agree to this? After a while, Chen Shan gradually came to his senses and asked his son in an incredulous tone. Dad, do you think I'm the kind of person who doesn't know what's important? To be honest, before I came back, I had already met my uncle and aunt. They had no objection to my engagement with Kingya. Chen Yang smiled faintly and spoke slowly. Did Kingya's parents agree? Really? Wu Yan's face was filled with surprise. To be honest, she liked Yi Kingya from the very first moment she saw her. However, her clothes and the aura she exuded clearly indicated that she was not a child raised in an ordinary family. Although Chen Yang is very outstanding, marriage has always been about matching social status and background. Wu Yan was initially worried that Yi Qingya's parents would look down on their son. Who would have thought that Chen Yang would bring her such a big surprise? He's even won over his future in-laws. This is just too unbelievable. Brother, you're really amazing. Not only did you find such a beautiful and elegant girlfriend, but you also got her parents' approval directly. How did you do that? Teach me a few tricks, maybe they'll come in handy someday. Chen Guang's eyes widened, and his face immediately showed admiration as he stared at Chen Yang and said, Cough, cough. Chen Yang cleared his throat. Then he looked at his parents with a serious expression. Dad, Mom, there's something very important I feel I need to tell you. Kingya is pregnant, and the baby is already 2 months old. That's why Kingya and I rushed back to see you. We'll also take you back to Shanghai to meet her parents and discuss the engagement. Chen Shan and Wu Yan were shocked once again. Her eyes were filled with surprise and disbelief as she looked at her son. This kid actually got that girl pregnant. No wonder this whole thing has been strange from beginning to end. Chen Yang had been keeping it a secret from them all along. So this is the truth. Chen Yang, how dare you? You actually let Kingya get pregnant out of wedlock. Chen Shan was furious and was about to get up and teach his son a lesson. Wu Yan was the first to react. She quickly got up, stood in front of Chen Yang, and hugged Chen Shan. At the same time, he comforted him, saying, Old Chen, what are you doing? Calm down and listen to your son's story. Yi Qingya couldn't bear to see Chen Yang being scolded by his parents, so she resolutely stepped forward and spoke up for him. Uncle, Aunt, this isn't Chen Yang's fault. We both share responsibility. Upon seeing this, Chen Shan's anger immediately subsided by half. After all, he didn't know the whole story, but he was very familiar with his son's personality. Chen Yang is a man of principle in his conduct and work. Under normal circumstances, he would never do such a thing, so there might be some hidden story behind this. Most importantly, Yi Qingya not only did not hold Chen Yang accountable, but also took him to meet her parents. Chen Yang even gained the approval of her parents. Given Chen Yang's dramatic change, the whole affair seems shrouded in mystery, leaving Chen Shan completely unable to see through it. Girl, don't be afraid. Tell me, did my son bully you? And what exactly happened in this matter? Chen Shan tried his best to calm himself down. Then she forced a smile and asked Yi Qingya softly. Upon hearing this, Yi Qingya stopped hiding it and told the whole truth. From her unexpected encounter with Chen Yang, to her pregnancy, to the various events that occurred during their cohabitation, and to taking Chen Yang to the airport to meet her family elders. He told Chen Shan and Wu Yan everything, big and small. After hearing this, Chen Shan and Wu Yan almost had a mental breakdown. Not only did her own son get Yi Qingya pregnant, he also made hundreds of millions by investing in the stock market. He even took the initiative to meet Yi Qingya's parents and gained their approval with his talent. All of this is like getting the script of a protagonist in a wish fulfillment novel, with life suddenly becoming a cheat code. It's so outrageous it's unbelievable. Chapter 133, The Perfect Daughter-in-Law, Presenting a Gift. After a long while, Chen Shan's gaze finally fell on Chen Yang. Son, is everything she said true? Although Chen Shan already believed most of it, he still wanted to get Chen Yang's answer in person. After all, Chen Yang had never lied since he was a child. Especially on such an important matter, Chen Shan believed that Chen Yang would not dare to deceive him. Dad, it's all true. Otherwise, why would I be in such a hurry to come back? Moreover, Kingya's belly is getting bigger every day, and the engagement cannot be delayed. It must be settled as soon as possible so that she and her parents can rest assured. Chen Yang nodded and replied with a serious expression. Kingya, come sit here with me. I'd like to have a good talk with you. At this moment, Wu Yan suddenly waved to Yi Qingya and said in a gentle voice. Yi Qingya glanced at Chen Yang subconsciously. Seeing Chen Yang nod slightly, she got up and walked to Wu Yan, sitting down next to her. Auntie, please feel free to speak your mind. Yi Qingya said gently. Qingya, Auntie can tell from your clothes and appearance that your family must be well off. To be honest, we're just an ordinary family. This large apartment was bought by Chen Yang last week after he transferred some money to his father. Although our family is not extremely wealthy, Chen Yang has been an outstanding child since he was a child. He became the top science student in Nanyang City in the college entrance examination. With his ability and character, if you two really get married, I can assure you that I will absolutely not let you or the child in your belly suffer any grievances. Wu Yan held Yi Qingya's hand and said earnestly, Auntie, Chen Yang told me all of this a long time ago. To be honest, I personally have no prejudice against any particular group. On the contrary, I value him more as a person, his ability and character, and his attitude towards me. Uncle and aunt, you have raised him very well, because he gave me an unprecedented sense of security and the feeling of being in love. This is why I agreed to marry him. We didn't get married because of a pregnancy. We genuinely love each other. Otherwise, with modern medicine being so advanced, getting rid of a child would be incredibly easy. We don't need to go to such great lengths to persuade each other's parents. Yi Qingya smiled sweetly, a slight curve appearing at the corners of her mouth. Since you two have thought it through, I fully support your engagement. Wu Yan couldn't stop smiling when she thought about having such a beautiful daughter-in-law. Auntie, tell me some funny stories about Chen Yang when he was a child. Perfect, I can learn more about him. Upon hearing that Wu Yan had agreed to her engagement to Chen Yang, Yi Qingya immediately felt happy. Immediately, he took Wu Yan's arm and said in an intimate tone, Okay, since you want to hear it, Auntie will tell you all about it. Wu Yan was happy to share with Yi Qingya, and the two hit it off more and more as they chatted. On the other side, Chen Yang was also talking to his father, Chen Shan. If this had happened before, Chen Shan would definitely have given Chen Yang a good lecture. But now, Chen Yang has grown up. He is now not only successful in his career, but also has a girlfriend who is pregnant with his child. He even met the woman's parents and earned their approval through his own abilities. Under these circumstances, Chen Shan felt that he had no right to lecture Chen Yang. Son, you've grown up. You're capable, insightful, and responsible, far superior to your father in every way. From now on, this family will depend on you to support it. Chen Shan was self-aware. He should feel happy and gratified that his son is more successful than him, instead of using his fatherly status to suppress him in order to defend his own authority. Dad, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Qingya's family is indeed much better off than ours, but that's okay. I'm still young, and I have the opportunity and the ability to change their perception of me. Chen Yang smiled calmly and said, Well, as long as you know your limits. Your mother and I can't help you much with this. We can only try our best not to hold you back. Chen Shan nodded. We chatted for a while. Yi Qingya got up and walked towards the pile of gifts. Then she picked up a box and put it on the table. Uncle, this is a gift I bought especially for you. It contains Longjing tea, Heshiangxia liquor, and Feishan Maodai. Young lady, you're too kind. There's no need to bring such an expensive gift when you're visiting. Some fruit will suffice. Chen Shan looked embarrassed and said. He clicked his tongue inwardly, clearly stunned by Yi Qingya's extravagant gesture. It's never wrong to be overly polite. Besides, when Chen Yang visited my home, he also brought some gifts for my parents. Compared to him, my gifts are nothing. Yi Qingya shook her head slightly. After saying that, she turned around and picked up a lot of things, handing them to Wu Yan. Auntie, these are some skincare products, cosmetics, face masks, and massage devices I bought for you. Take a look, do you like it? Upon hearing this, a hint of joy flashed across Wu Yan's face. Qingya, Auntie will like anything you give me. Yi Qingya smiled gently, then presented the gift to Chen Guang, saying softly, Little brother, this is a few outfits and a new cell phone that your brother and I bought for you. Chen Guang's eyes widened. Obviously, he didn't expect that his sister-in-law would actually prepare a gift for him when they met. He excitedly accepted the gift, a brand new Apple iPhone worth over 10,000 yuan. The clothes are from big brands, fashionable and trendy, made of high-quality fabrics, and each piece costs at least several thousand yuan. Sister-in-law, I really love your gift. Hearing Chen Guang address her as such, Yi Qingye secretly felt delighted. At the same time, a noticeable smile curved her lips. I'm glad you like it. I heard from your brother that you are a sophomore in high school this year, and your academic performance is among the best in the whole grade. You are just like him back in the day. Study hard, and when you finish the college entrance exam and get into your dream university, your sister-in-law will buy you the best laptop on the market. Then, I'll take you to Shanghai for a trip. Upon hearing this, Chen Guang's face visibly lit up with joy. The next moment he excitedly replied, Don't worry, sister-in-law, I will definitely work hard. Dad, Mom, it's getting late. I'm going to the nearby market to buy some vegetables and meat. I'll cook a delicious meal for you tonight and let you taste the cooking skills I've recently learned. It will definitely be a big surprise for you. Chen Yang glanced at the time on his wristwatch. Then he spoke to his parents. All right, I'll give you a chance to show off. Without a second thought, Chen Shan readily agreed. At this moment, the sharp-eyed Chen Guang immediately noticed that the watch on his brother Chen Yang's wrist was quite valuable. So he asked softly, Brother, when did you buy this watch? It looks so cool. What brand is it? Is the price very expensive? Chapter 134. If she is naive and inexperienced, then show her the world's splendor. When Chen Yang saw his younger brother Chen Guang's eyes gleaming with curiosity, he couldn't help but smile. This is called Patek Philippe. It was a gift that your sister-in-law bought for me a few days ago when I went shopping with her. The price is indeed not cheap. Why don't you guess what its market price is? Chen Guang didn't know much about watches, but he had heard a rich second-generation student in his class mention the Patek Philippe brand. It is definitely a high-end brand in the watch industry. The cheapest one starts at 6 figures. It's equivalent to a car for an average family. 300,000. Chen Guang boldly guessed aloud. The numbers are very close. Chen Yang smiled. 500,000. Chen Guang continued to guess. Chen Yang said, Guess boldly, guess high. 1 million. Chen Guang doubled the price. In his opinion, this price was already quite high. This amount of money could buy a house outright in a good location in the county town. All right, I'm not teasing you anymore. This watch is called Patek Philippe Secret of Timepieces, and its market price is 2,999,900 yuan. Chen Yang saw his younger brother Chen Guang and couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he tried. Therefore, he proactively quoted the actual price of the watch. As soon as he said that, the faces of Chen Shan, Wu Yan, and Chen Guang, a family of 3, were immediately filled with astonishment. Even though they had some suspicions, they still couldn't help but gasp when they actually heard from Chen Yang that the watch he was wearing cost nearly 3 million. Goodness, this rich person is really extravagant. One watch is worth 3 million. In their city of Nanyang, they could buy a high-end apartment. In particular, this watch was a gift from Yi Qingye to Chen Yang. This shows just how distinguished Yi Qingye's family background is. Isn't your family far too wealthy, sister-in-law? Chen Guang was stunned and clicked his tongue in disbelief, remaining shocked for quite some time before he came to his senses. Not only are they rich, but they also have a very influential background. I can't say more than that. When Mom and Dad come back to Shanghai with me, I'll take you to meet your uncle and aunt. Once you've seen them in person, you'll know everything. Chen Yang shook his head and chuckled, not daring to reveal too much information about Yi Qingye's parents' identities. The main reason for doing this was to avoid putting too much pressure on my parents. After all, to ordinary people, Uncle Yi and Aunt Wen are definitely considered to be among the powerful and wealthy. Dealing with them would make anyone feel nervous and uneasy. Upon hearing this, Chen Shan and Wu Yan exchanged a glance, and even bolder guesses began to form in their minds. Just as Chen Yang was about to go out to the nearby market to buy groceries, Yi Qingye suddenly asked him, Chen Yang, can I go with you? Sure. Chen Yang nodded decisively. This is the first time I've ever been to a county town like this. It's a good opportunity to take a look around and see how it differs from big cities. Yi Qingye smiled slightly and explained, Life in small county towns is slower paced, and compared to economically developed cities like Shanghai, it has a more down-to-earth and lively atmosphere. Since you've come all this way, I'll show you around. Seeing Yi Qingye's excited expression, Chen Yang quickly guessed that she was full of curiosity about this new thing. So I was happy to fulfill her little requests. Really? Let's set off now. After saying that, Yi Qingye took Chen Yang's arm and pulled him toward the door. Looking at this scene, Chen Shan, Wu Yan, and Chen Guang, a family of three, all had smiles on their faces. They could tell that Chen Yang and Yi Qingye had a genuinely good relationship. No wonder, after learning of the pregnancy, their first thought was to meet her parents and then prepare for their engagement. If it were a couple without a foundation of affection, their first thought would probably be to abort the child to avoid being bothered by this trouble. "Dad, give me your car keys." Chen Yang looked at his father, Chen Shan, and said with a smile, "Your girlfriend is pregnant now, so drive carefully and don't frighten her." Chen Shan's car is an older model Mazda, with a market price of less than 100,000 yuan, which he mainly uses for commuting to and from get-off work. In small county towns, the main means of transportation for ordinary families to commute to and from work are motorcycles and electric bikes, and if they want to save money, they use bicycles. Only those whose family is slightly better off can afford a four-wheeled car. In first-tier cities, cars like Mazda are considered the most affordable, but in smaller towns, only middle-class families can afford them. After graduating from high school, Chen Yang practiced driving in his father's Mazda, and then took the driving test during the summer vacation, successfully passing and obtaining his driver's license. "Dad, don't worry, I'll be careful. You've been driving this Mazda for quite a few years now. Tomorrow I'll buy you a new car so you can enjoy it." Chen Yang smiled faintly and then spoke. "Since you have such filial piety, I certainly won't refuse. However, don't buy anything too expensive. Your dad is just a middle school teacher. It's not appropriate for me to drive a luxury car worth millions. That's too ostentatious and would only cause unnecessary controversy." Upon hearing this, Chen Shan's eyes lit up immediately. Chen Yang's suggestion undoubtedly appealed to him. After all, when a man is financially well off, no man can resist a nice car. Not to mention, this car was a gift from his own son. Driving this car out would not only represent his image, but also his pride. That being said, there's a limit to how good a car can be. In a small town, flaunting your wealth too much can get you into trouble. That's why Chen Shan reminded his son, "I know that without you reminding me. Dad, Mom, little brother, we're heading out now." After receiving the Mazda car keys from his father, Chen Yang led Yi Qingye out the door and took the elevator downstairs. The Mazda was parked in the designated parking lot in the open space in front. Chen Yang stepped forward, unlocked the car door with his key, and let Yi Qingye sit in the passenger seat. Then I started the engine and drove to the farmer's market. Along the way, Yi Qingye looked around at the streets on both sides. "Chen Yang, your hometown is really lively. There's food and drink and plenty of vendors. People of all ages are there and the market is full of local architecture. It's quite charming." This is a scenario. This had never happened before in Yi Qingye's life, bringing her a completely new experience. There's a saying that goes something like this: if she's naive and inexperienced, show her the world's splendor. If she's world-weary, take her on a carousel. Some people live in luxury and are oblivious to the hardships of life. Some people live in poverty and hardship, their lives filled with constant anxiety and uncertainty. Everyone's fate is different, and everyone's circumstances are different. The more you lack something, the more you crave it. This experience of loss will become the brightest color in her life's memories, until the end of her life. At this moment, everything new and new to Yi Qingye was a first for her. Even the simplest scenes gave her different feelings. Chapter 135, Buying Ingredients at the Market, Winning Over Family with Exquisite Culinary Skills. Yes, although the economy here is not as prosperous as that of big cities, the local customs, culture, and regional characteristics are still quite unique. Every year during holidays, many people from other places come here to travel and experience the local food, culture, and regional charm. It has significantly increased the revenue for our local businesses. Chen Yang smiled and nodded, replying to Yi Qingye. As the two chatted, the car drove smoothly and soon arrived at a large farmer's market. The place sells a wide variety of local produce, including vegetables grown by the locals, chickens, ducks, geese, grass carp, and fruits. Therefore, the market has a large flow of people. To prevent Yi Qingye from getting lost, and even more so to prevent her from being bumped into. Therefore, Chen Yang held Yi Qingye's hand the whole way and consciously protected her behind him. Yi Qingye naturally noticed this subtle movement. The two strolled around and bought a freshly killed free-range chicken, a goose, 2 pounds of beef, various fresh vegetables, and side dishes and seasonings for cooking. In less than half an hour, the two of them were carrying bags full of plastic. Seeing that they had bought almost all the ingredients, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye returned to the car, put everything in the trunk, and then drove towards the Shuixi Yunting residential area. It was 5:30 in the evening. The Mazda was parked in the parking lot downstairs. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye carried their belongings back to the Chen family home. "Son, there are only a few people in our family. Do you really need to buy so much food?" When Wu Yan saw Chen Yang and Yi Qingye buy so many things, she couldn't help but show a hint of reproach on her face. "Mom, these are all good ingredients I bought. The market doesn't have them every day. And we have a refrigerator at home, right? We can keep any leftovers fresh in the refrigerator. I found that the market is quite a distance from my neighborhood, so buying more will save me 1 or 2 trips." Chen Yang smiled and said. Upon hearing this, Wu Yan nodded and replied, "Son, what you said is true. Qingye, why don't you go outside and chat with my mom for a while? I'm going to start cooking." Chen Yang looked at Yi Qingye and said softly, "Auntie, let's go outside and sit for a while. We'll leave things here to Chen Yang." Yi Qingye immediately understood. He took Wu Yan's arm and walked towards the living room. "Qingye, you're living with my son in Shanghai, and he cooks for you every day." Wu Yan asked Yi Qingye with a curious look on her face. "Yes, Auntie. Whenever Chen Yang has free time, he cooks himself. After all, many restaurant chefs cook delicious food, but there's no guarantee that they won't use some advanced technology or ruthless techniques that could harm the baby in my belly. If he's really too busy with work to come, he'll immediately order some home-cooked dishes from a high-end restaurant and bring them back to me." When Yi Qingye brought up this matter, Wu Yan could clearly see that her eyes lit up. It seems that this guy's cooking skills have indeed improved a lot. You can actually make food that tastes good to you. Speaking of this, Wu Yan couldn't help but feel a little proud. After all, Chen Yang's cooking skills were mostly taught by her personally. "Auntie, I didn't mean to praise Chen Yang in front of you, but his talent in cooking is truly amazing. In his spare time, he watches videos online and learns to cook various cuisines. The food he makes tastes better and better the more he cooks it. Moreover, his cooking skills not only won over my best friend and me, but also completely won over my parents." When Yi Qingye mentioned this, her face couldn't help but reveal happiness. After all, being able to eat meals cooked by Chen Yang every day is a very happy thing in itself. Is my son really that good at cooking? Qingye, are you kidding me? I taught my son to cook. He can only make some simple home-style dishes and they taste okay, but it's not as exaggerated as you're saying. Wu Yan clearly didn't believe it, and a hint of doubt lingered in her mind. Auntie, I have no reason to lie to you about something like this. If you don't believe me, you can taste the dishes yourself after Chen Yang finishes cooking. I guarantee you'll be pleasantly surprised and have a truly satisfying meal. Yi Qingye said with a smile. Okay, then I'll have to give it a good try later. Wu Yan nodded, her heart filled with anticipation. Inside the kitchen, Chen Yang took off his watch and placed it in the empty space. Then, after tying on the apron, they got busy. He first washed the ingredients and then began preparing the dishes. Take out a cutting board, hold a knife in your right hand, cut the free-range chicken in half, and then cut it into small pieces. The goose was prepared in the same way, while the beef was sliced thinly. Host detected cooking. Knife skills plus 100, culinary proficiency plus 100. Knife skills plus 100, culinary proficiency plus 100. Knife skills beginner. 3,500 5000, cooking skills beginner. 3,700 5000. After more than an hour of cooking, the 7 dishes and 1 soup were ready. A delicious aroma immediately wafted from the kitchen. After cleaning up the kitchen, Chen Yang went to the living room and shouted loudly, "Dad, Mom, Qingye, little brother, the food is ready, let's eat." After saying that, he brought out one steaming hot dish after another, each with its own unique color, aroma, and flavor, and placed them on the table. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately stopped talking. He got up from the sofa and went straight to the dining table. Looking at the large table full of delicious dishes, a hint of amazement appeared on their faces, especially the Chen family of 3. They had eaten Chen Yang's cooking before. However, the dishes in front of us are not only visually appealing and delicious, but also beautifully presented. To the uninitiated, it would look like the work of a master chef. However, the actual outcome was that Chen Yang did it himself. The contrast was so stark that it was almost unbelievable to them. "Son, when did you learn such a great skill?" Chen Shan looked at Chen Yang incredulously and asked, "I used to work part-time in the kitchen of a hotel and learned some basics from a master chef. Later, I found some videos online and tried to imitate them. I didn't expect that the food I made would taste pretty good. Qingye thinks it's delicious, and I often make it in Shanghai. My cooking skills have been constantly improving through daily practice. Chen Yang smiled calmly and explained. Qingya just told me that her son's cooking is delicious, but I didn't believe her. After seeing this table of food, I was already half convinced. Wu Yan gave a wry smile and said, "Don't just stand there, grab your bowls and chopsticks. Serve your rice and taste it yourselves." Chen Yang turned around, took a stack of bowls and a pair of chopsticks from the kitchen, and handed them to everyone. Upon seeing this, the Chen family members snapped out of their daze, immediately served rice, and then picked up their chopsticks to eat the dishes. This beef is fresh, tender, and chewy. It tastes absolutely delicious. Chen Shan took a bite. His eyes narrowed slightly, and an expression of extreme enjoyment appeared on his face. Then he gave a thumbs up in praise. This chicken is crisp, tender, and juicy, and not dry at all. It tastes several times better than what I make. Wu Yan was lavish in her praise, saying, "Brother, your braised goose smells amazing, even better than the braised meat from the shops outside. Your skills are absolutely incredible." Chen Guang held a braised goose leg, eating it with his mouth full of oil. The expression on his face clearly showed how much he was enjoying himself. Clearly, after tasting Chen Yang's dishes, the Chen family of 3 were unsurprisingly captivated and unable to extricate themselves. Chapter 136 Yizai. From now on, you can only coax me. Seeing his family enjoying the meal so much, Chen Yang felt a surge of accomplishment. He picked up his chopsticks, took a piece of plump fish, removed the fish bones, and put it into Yi Qingya's bowl. "Qingya, try my steamed fish. This time I specially made a new sauce that tastes even more delicious and will definitely surprise you." Upon hearing this, Yi Qingya immediately picked up her chopsticks and began to taste the food. The fish meat has a fresh and tender texture when you put it in your mouth. Combined with that unique sauce, it's simply unforgettable. So delicious. Chen Yang, your cooking skills have gotten even better. Yi Qingya looked at Chen Yang with a delighted expression and said, "Hee, if you like it, then eat more." Chen Yang picked up a large piece of fish, dipped it in the sauce, and put it into Yi Qingya's bowl. This action by the 3 members of the Chen family, saw it as nothing short of blatant public displays of affection. Chen Shan and Wu Yan, being a couple who had been through similar experiences, could understand. However, Chen Guang is currently single. Seeing her brother and sister-in-law showing off their love like this, her eyes were practically overflowing with envy and jealousy. Helpless, he could only channel his grief and anger into his appetite, devouring all the delicious food on his table. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed the meal and ate to their heart's content. After the meal, the arduous task of washing the dishes naturally fell to Chen Guang. After all, almost half of the lavish meal tonight ended up in his stomach, leaving him completely stuffed. Chen Shan, Wu Yan, Chen Yang, Yi Qingya, and the others moved to the tea table and began to drink tea. After chatting for a while, Chen Shan and Wu Yan went out for a walk downstairs in the community. Chen Yang and Yi Qingya went to the master bedroom that his family had specially reserved for him to unpack their luggage. There wasn't much luggage, and it only took a few minutes to get it ready. Chen Yang sat in a chair, while Yi Qingya sat on his lap, her arms wrapped around his neck, her entire body pressed against his chest. Yi Qingya turned her head to the side, staring intently into Chen Yang's eyes. Immediately, she revealed a haughty expression and said softly, "Chen Yang, I did a pretty good job, right? Your parents seem very satisfied with me." Seeing how adorable Yi Qingya was, Chen Yang couldn't resist leaning forward and kissing her cheek, saying in a doting tone, "I've always said that you are so beautiful, elegant, gentle, and virtuous. My parents will definitely like you. Not only my parents and my brother, but all my relatives will like you. So, from the very beginning, you were putting pressure on yourself. You're so outstanding and wonderful, who wouldn't like you?" Hearing Chen Yang's words, Yi Qingya was overjoyed. She was certain it wasn't love that blinded her, but rather that Chen Yang always exuded a unique charm that deeply attracted her. That's what made her experience falling in love. "Chen Yang, how come I never noticed before? You have such a sweet tongue. You're so good at making girls happy. Tell me honestly, did you often use this trick to woo other girls before?" Yi Qingya's hand had unknowingly landed on the softest part of Chen Yang's waist. It was as if she would torture Chen Yang if he couldn't give her a reasonable explanation. "I'm innocent. Isn't that how male protagonists in TV dramas and novels are always portrayed? Could it be that I said something wrong? Even if Chen Yang has never eaten pork, has he never seen a pig run?" In this era of internet overload, countless pieces of information are bombarded into his mind every day. Not to mention Chen Yang has an amazing memory. He's never been in a relationship, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know how to please girls. As long as you provide emotional value, winning a girl's heart is a piece of cake. In the past, Chen Yang would never have bothered to flirt with girls in this way. But Yi Qingye was just too beautiful and charming, so he couldn't help but want to make her happy. HMPH, that had better be the case. I want you to promise that from now on you will only coax me, and you will never use this method to please other girls. Did you understand? Yi Qingye pouted and said with a serious expression. She herself didn't realize that the longer she spent with Chen Yang, the stronger her desire to control him became. This behavior is precisely because Chen Yang is playing an increasingly important role in her heart. The more you care, the more you want to possess everything about him. In the face of love, both men and women are selfish. No one can stand by and watch their loved one flirt and get entangled with other people of the opposite sex. Especially, the light emanating from Chen Yang grew brighter and brighter. He was so outstanding that Yi Qingye was afraid of losing him. I promise I can do it. Chen Yang held Yi Qingye's fair and smooth hand tightly, placed it on his chest, carefully felt his strong heartbeat, and said with deep affection, "Whoosh!" A blush immediately appeared on Yi Qingye's fair face, making her look incredibly shy. It added a unique charm out of nowhere. Night. After taking a shower, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye slept on the soft, large bed in the master bedroom. The two embraced tightly and drifted off to sleep, a happy smile still on their lips. The following morning at 8:30, I woke up from a nap. Chen Yang opened his eyes and found Yi Qingye still sleeping soundly in his arms. He gently moved the other person away, then got up and went to the bathroom to wash up. Upon arriving at the lobby, I found it completely empty. Inside the kitchen, at this moment, the mother, Wu Yan, was making breakfast. "Mom, good morning. What are you doing?" Chen Yang stepped forward and asked with a curious expression. "Mom is about to make breakfast for you and Qingye. Your dad and your brother have already eaten breakfast. One of them went to the vegetable garden to cut grass, and the other is reading in the study." Wu Yan turned around and saw that the only person who came was her son Chen Yang. She did not see his girlfriend Yi Qingye. She then slowly replied, "Dad is still so diligent." Upon hearing this, Chen Yang couldn't help but say something. "Yes, we can grow quite a few vegetables on that plot of land at home every year. He always says that the vegetables bought in the market are all sprayed with pesticides or are grown in greenhouses, and are not as nutritious as those grown at home. With weekends off, I get so bored that I have to find something to do to pass the time. Growing vegetables not only allows him to exercise, but also provides vegetables for the family to eat. It's a win-win situation, so why not do it?" Wu Yan chuckled and said, "Okay, then take your time. Qingye might wake up a little later. Her biological clock usually starts later. I'll call her after you've finished. I'll go to the study first to see how my brother is doing with his studies. He'll be taking the college entrance exam next year, and he needs to carefully consolidate all the knowledge points at this stage. If he can cram a little more, he might be able to get into Tsinghua, Peking University, and Yenching University, the two most prestigious universities in the country, next year. It can be considered as fulfilling my dream of being an older brother." After speaking with his mother, Chen Yang turned and walked towards the study. Chapter 137. Younger brother Chen Guang, a graduate of Tsinghua and Peking Universities, acquires beginner lecturer skills. Inside the study, the layout and displays inside are all meticulously designed. The bookshelves against the wall are filled with books and study materials for various subjects. On the large desk, stacks of test papers and books were piled up, with a laptop next to it. At this moment, Chen Guang is sitting at his desk, concentrating on doing his homework. Knock, knock, knock. Chen Yang raised his hand and knocked on the door. Then he pushed open the door and went inside. "Elder brothers." Chen Guang turned his head, and upon seeing that the person who had come was his older brother Chen Yang, quickly greeted him. "Zio Guang, are you studying?" A smile appeared on Chen Yang's face. He then walked over, pulled out the chair next to him, and sat down. "How did you do on your most recent mock exam?" Upon hearing this, Chen Guang's lips curled up slightly, and he said confidently, "Third in the grade with a total score of 680. "That's all right. With your current score, getting into Tsinghua or Yenching University is probably still a bit of a stretch. You didn't participate in the competition and went through the direct admission channel. Based on the previous years, cut-off scores, if you want to get into Tsinghua or Yenching University, You need to have a total score of at least 700 points to be considered a sure thing. Chen Yang said softly, "Yes, that's what my homeroom teacher told me too. However, once you reach this level of score, it becomes quite difficult to improve it further. Brother, do you have any study tips you can teach me? Help me break through my limits and get over 700 points." From childhood to adulthood, his older brother Chen Yang has always been Chen Guang's idol. In particular, Chen Yang achieved a total score of 703 in the college entrance examination, becoming the top science student in Nanyang City and attracting fierce competition from two top universities, Tsinghua University and Peking University. He not only became a role model for Nanyang No. 1 High School to be proud of, but also a prominent figure in the entire city of Nanyang. That day, city leaders, county leaders, and school leaders gathered at the Chen family home, marking the most glorious moment in the parents' lives. Despite certain reasons, Chen Yang, the older brother, rejected the admission offers from Tsinghua University, Peking University, and Yenching University, and chose to study at Shanghai University instead. Even today, stories about Chen Yang circulate in Nanyang City and at the No. 1 middle school. Having such an older brother is both a pressure and a motivation for Chen Guang. He had been putting in a lot of effort to break the halo his brother had placed over him. No matter how hard he tried, he could never surpass his brother. It was as if there was a chasm in front of him, which he could not cross no matter how much effort and method he used. This left Chen Guang feeling quite helpless. In particular, when Chen Guang learned that his older brother Chen Yang had earned hundreds of millions of yuan by investing in the stock market before even graduating from university, achieving financial freedom, he was deeply moved. This sense of powerlessness made Chen Guang completely lose the idea of surpassing his brother. Even so, his brother remains his role model and the driving force for his continued progress. Now that his brother has returned to their hometown from Shanghai, Chen Guang naturally wants to learn from his brother's experience. Perhaps he can actually help improve his grades. A secret to learning, there really is one. Xiao Guang, at your stage, you can say that you have mastered all the basic knowledge. The key to improving your score lies in mastering the challenging questions at the end of the exam. These are often the areas where you lose points in every test. What you need to do now is not to do ineffective practice problems, but to conduct targeted training on the types of problems you are weak in. You're only a junior in high school this year, and there's still more than a year until the college entrance exam. As long as you're willing to put in the time, I believe that with your abilities, your college entrance exam score will definitely be higher than mine was back then. Chen Yang smiled slightly, acknowledging his younger brother Chen Guang's abilities. Brother, what you said makes a lot of sense. However, there are still some points I don't understand. Could you explain them to me? Chen Guang looked at Chen Yang with expectant eyes and asked. No problem. Although I graduated from high school many years ago, I still have a solid foundation. If I can help you with your studies, I certainly won't refuse. Chen Yang nodded. That's what he said, but only Chen Yang himself knew the truth. After obtaining extraordinary brain power from the system, he gained advantages in intelligence, thinking ability, logical ability, spatial imagination, and so on. In every aspect, it's like they've been given a cheat code. Any knowledge point he had learned could appear in his mind with unparalleled clarity with just a thought. Moreover, he can apply what he has learned to other situations, expanding and extending his knowledge to create various exercises. Therefore, Chen Yang's brain is now, in terms of thinking logic, efficiency, computing power, and other aspects, it has reached the highest level of human capabilities. For Chen Yang, the college entrance examination questions were no different from a 3-year-old's arithmetic problems. Brother, can you help me with this question? As he spoke, Chen Guang picked up a set of test papers, handed them to Chen Yang, and pointed to the questions that were troubling him. Chen Yang took the test paper and glanced at it briefly. In just a few breaths, he immediately came up with the answer and simultaneously devised no fewer than 4 solutions. However, 2 of them require the use of advanced mathematics. For college entrance exam takers, this is already considered beyond the syllabus. Therefore, to be on the safe side and avoid losing points, it is more appropriate to use the methods learned in the senior year courses to answer the questions. Xiao Guang, this question is actually not difficult. Remember, when you encounter this type of question in the future, you should immediately have a clear idea in your mind, such as what type of knowledge point this question is testing. Then list out these knowledge points and apply them to the question types to get a general direction for solving the problem. One advantage of doing this is that it can save you a lot of time. And once you do a lot of this type of question, you'll find that it all boils down to the same thing. The core knowledge points it tests are almost always the same. After you practice a lot, you'll be able to easily solve this type of question in no time, greatly improving your efficiency and accuracy. I'll explain 2 solutions to you now. Just follow my line of thinking step by step. When Chen Yang gets serious, the aura he exudes becomes particularly solemn. She exudes a unique charm. Chen Guang was naturally intelligent and a promising candidate for Tsinghua, Peking University, and Yenching University, so he had a solid foundation in basic knowledge. Chen Yang only pointed out the solution approach and taught him some problem-solving techniques. It also analyzes the question types, and the knowledge points that the question setters want to test from multiple dimensions. Soon, Chen Guang was enlightened and benefited greatly. 1-2. Chen Yang explains the questions very quickly, and at the same time helps his younger brother Chen Guang extract the core knowledge points. The 2 of them spent nearly half an hour teaching and learning in this way. Host detected teaching others knowledge. Instructor skill plus 1000. Instructor skill level upgraded to beginner, 05000. Junior instructor. Students' comprehension and absorption application abilities increase by 20% after learning from the host's instruction. Just then, a virtual light screen suddenly appeared in front of Chen Yang. The system's voice rang in his ears. The next moment, a multitude of techniques for teaching various knowledge points emerged in his mind, making it easier for people to remember, understand, and use them skillfully. Chapter 138, 2 Heroes from One Family, Buying a Car for Father. This skill surprised Chen Yang himself. However, it comes in handy right now. In this way, he could greatly improve the efficiency of teaching his younger brother Chen Guang. Zyro Guang, I'm going to be staying at home for several days. Take advantage of this time to compile a list of your weak subjects, as well as the questions you are prone to making mistakes on or that you don't know how to answer. I'm free tonight, so I'll come over and give you some extra lessons. I guarantee your grades will improve significantly in the next mock exam. Chen Yang thought to himself, so he immediately spoke to his younger brother, Chen Guang. No problem. Upon hearing this, Chen Guang's face immediately lit up with joy, and he replied with a smile. After a while, Chen Yang walked out of the study. In the living room, Yi Qingye had already gotten up, washed up, and changed into casual clothes. She was sitting on the sofa chatting with her mother, Wu Yan. When the 2 women saw Chen Yang come out of the study, they immediately looked at him. Son, breakfast is on the table, have some. Qingye, you've already eaten. I saw you teaching your brother in the study, so I didn't call you. Wu Yan smiled kindly and said, Okay, sure. Chen Yang nodded. He immediately went to the dining table and quickly began eating breakfast. Mom, has my brother's grades always been consistently good? Is it still fluctuating wildly with large swings? Chen Yang suddenly asked his mother, Wu Yan. He consistently ranks among the top 5 in his grade, without much fluctuation. The total score will fluctuate depending on the difficulty of the exam questions. However, the difference is not significant. He studies very hard, just like you did in high school. When this matter was mentioned, Wu Yan couldn't help but show pride and joy on her face. At the same time, there was a hint of heartache deep in her eyes. That's good. I plan to help him catch up on his studies while I'm at home these few days. If nothing unexpected happens, his score should improve in the next mock exam. If this trend continues, his college entrance exam score next year will definitely be higher than mine was back then. Our family will have another student from Tsinghua or Peking University or Yenching University. 2 outstanding talents from one family. Only then will our Chen family truly bring glory to our lineage. Chen Yang smiled and said, If that day ever comes, Mom will be so happy. Wu Yan's smile never stopped. She believed her eldest son, Chen Yang's words without a doubt. Auntie, when that time comes, you'll definitely become famous. After all, being able to raise 2 sons to become top students at key universities in China is remarkable in itself. Yi Qingye couldn't help but praise Wu Yan. Haha, this is not my doing at all. They are both exceptionally talented. From elementary school to high school, they were always first in their class. I don't have to worry about their studies at all. As Wu Yan spoke, a hint of pride inevitably appeared between her brows. Really? Chen Yang's talent is the strongest I have ever seen, without exception. Above geniuses, there are even more geniuses, and Chen Yang is one of the highest tier. Yi Qingye nodded slightly in agreement. Qingye, you are just as outstanding. You should know that in our Nanyang city, the number of people who can get into Shanghai University is very small. Wu Yan held Yi Qingye's hand, sparing no words of praise. She genuinely liked Yi Qingye, her future daughter-in-law. Beautiful, elegant, gentle, and virtuous. From any perspective, she is impeccable, and the perfect daughter-in-law in the eyes of any in-laws. Auntie, thank you for your compliment. Yi Qingye genuinely felt that Chen Yang's mother was very easy to get along with. If she has a mother-in-law like that, she won't have to worry about handling the mother-in-law-daughter-in-law relationship at all after marrying Chen Yang. As the group chatted, a noise came from the front door. Soon, Chen Shan appeared in the hall. Dad, are you busy later? Chen Yang looked at Chen Shan and suddenly asked, No, what's wrong? Chen Shan shook his head and replied curiously, Then our whole family will go to the car dealership to take a look. I'm planning to buy you a new car. Your old Mazda should be retired. Chen Yang smiled and said, Okay, whatever you say. Upon hearing this, Chen Shan immediately smiled. Half an hour later, Chen Shan and his family got into a Mazda, heading to a 4S store in the city. After nearly an hour's drive, we finally arrived at our destination. Wansheng Auto Sales, the largest and most powerful car dealership in Nanyang City. Inside the store, many customers and sales staff were sitting in the corner chairs, discussing contract details. Business seemed to be doing very well. As Chen Yang and his family entered the hall, staff members immediately greeted them warmly on both sides. Then a female salesperson stepped forward and asked politely, Hello, uncles and aunts, brothers and sisters. My name is Yu Lin, and I'm a car saleswoman at this store. Did you make an appointment with anyone before coming here? Chen Yang stepped forward, looked directly into the other person's eyes, and shook his head slightly. No. Upon seeing this, Yu Lin subtly observed Chen Yang. Seeing that he was dressed in designer brands and had excellent taste, and that he spoke to her before her parents, she was undoubtedly the backbone of the group. Immediately, Yu Lin's smile became even more pronounced. Little brother, do you want to buy a car for yourself, or for your uncle and aunt? Chen Yang smiled calmly and then said, I plan to buy my dad a BMW. You should have a car in stock, right? After hearing this, Yu Lin's face showed a hint of surprise. After all, most people Chen Yang's age are still in university. Even if he graduates, he'll only have been working for a few years. Chen Yang's parents dressed simply, while he himself was dressed in designer brands. Therefore, his money did not come from his parents, but from himself. Therefore, he was the one who made the decision to buy the car. Realizing this, Yu Lin became even more respectful and said to Chen Yang, Little brother, our car dealership is the largest in the city. No matter what brand or model you want, we have it in stock, and we guarantee it's all the latest production from the factory. Okay, then take us to see the BMW X5, the SUV version. Chen Yang had given it serious thought before coming. The decision was finalized. I'll buy my father a BMW SUV. After all, in the eyes of ordinary people, being able to afford a BMW is already considered a sign of success. Moreover, this type of car is driven by many wealthy people in small counties, making it a relatively common brand. The BMW X5 is priced between 500,000 and 800,000 yuan. Although it's not comparable to a million-yuan luxury car, it's still quite a luxury for my father to use as a mode of transportation. Son, Dad doesn't need to drive such a nice car. In my opinion, a car worth 200,000 or 300,000 is enough. Chen Shan looked at his son and offered some words of advice. It wasn't that he didn't like driving a BMW, but he mainly didn't want Chen Yang to spend too much money. Moreover, he is just an ordinary middle school teacher, and with his salary, driving a BMW would be too ostentatious. Every year, car insurance, maintenance, repairs, and fuel costs alone represent a significant expense for him. Chen Shan is, after all, just an ordinary person. When buying a car, he also considers affordability and value for money. Dad, things are different now. I can earn money now, and our family's good days have arrived. This is a gift from your son. Please don't refuse it. Chen Yang's eyes shone brightly as he met Chen Shan's gaze with a smile. His tone was firm and confident. In a short time, Chen Shan felt extremely gratified, and an indescribable sense of pride and honor welled up in his heart. Chapter 139. A top-of-the-line BMW X5 worth 826,000. Old Chen, this is a token of our son's affection, so please don't refuse it. Anyway, our son isn't short of money now. Let alone a BMW, he can afford any luxury car, no matter how expensive. Wu Yan, who was standing to the side, tugged at her husband's arm and whispered words of comfort. Although Chen Shan's words made sense, he also had to put himself in his son's shoes and consider his feelings. As a child, if you earn so much money and still let your parents live in poverty, then you are really not filial. If this news gets out, who knows how many people will curse Chen Yang behind his back, saying he has no conscience. Especially in small towns, gossip and bad news can easily spread. Wu Yan didn't want her son to be talked about behind her back. Wife, you're right. Since it is my son's wish, I really cannot refuse. A BMW is a BMW. I never thought that at my age, Chen Shan, would actually be driving a BMW thanks to my son. At this moment, Chen Shan couldn't help but feel a little excited. Upon seeing this, Yulin respectfully invited Chen Yang and his family to the BMW sales area. Finally, it stopped in front of a black BMW X5 SUV. Sir, thank you very much for choosing the BMW X5, a luxury mid-size SUV. The BMW X5 has always been a benchmark model in the luxury SUV segment, with outstanding performance in terms of appearance, interior, power, and handling. First of all, in terms of appearance, the BMW X5 adopts a calm and sophisticated design style, with a personalized matte pure black exterior, a dazzling light curtain, and new front and rear headlights. As Yulin introduced the car, she opened the door of the BMW X5 and invited Chen Shan and his son Chen Yang to get in so that they could better experience the luxurious interior and comfort. This is a brand new intelligent ambient light strip and welcome light carpet, made of premium soft synthetic leather. It not only provides excellent lateral support when the vehicle is turning, but also features heating and lumbar support and offers multiple electric adjustments. In terms of power, the BMW X5 offers two powertrain options: a new inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine and a new inline 6-cylinder turbocharged engine, delivering a more exhilarating and efficient driving experience. This car accelerates from 0 to 100 km/h in just 5.5 seconds, has a combined fuel consumption of 8.9 L/100 km, and an official guide price of 615,000 yuan. If you need to choose a higher level of equipment, the price will increase accordingly. Is there anything else you need to ask? After Yulin patiently introduced the BMW X5, a smile appeared on her face as she looked at Chen Yang and asked, "Can I take a test drive?" After a long pause, Chen Yang asked directly, "Of course, but I need to ask my supervisor for permission." Yulin smiled and nodded. "Okay, then go arrange it now. After the test drive, if the experience is good, I want the car immediately, and I can drive it away as soon as the formalities are completed." Chen Yang said slowly, "No problem. Sir, you and your family can sit over there and rest for a while. I'll have my colleague pour you some water. After I apply to my supervisor, a driver will take you for a test drive." After Yulin finished speaking, she immediately gestured for Chen Yang and his family to sit down. Then I asked a colleague to pour me a cup of tea and bring it to them. She immediately headed towards the leader's office. A few minutes later, Yulin returned to Chen Yang. "Sir, this way, please." Yulin invited Chen Shan and his son Chen Yang to an open space in front. Not far away, a BMW X5 with license plates started from its parking space and drove towards them. They took Chen Shan and his son Chen Yang for a test drive. "Dad, you can drive this BMW X5 in a bit. If you enjoy it, I'll just swipe my card and pay right away and have the saleswoman process the paperwork as quickly as possible. Later, we'll drive the new car straight home," Chen Yang said with a smile. "Okay, no problem." Chen Shan looked eager to try. Keep in mind, this is a BMW X5, worth hundreds of thousands. This was the first time he had ever driven one, so he was understandably excited. Soon, the driver moved the BMW X5 to a safe area. Then I got off the bus and switched places with Chen Shan. After getting in the car, the driver explained the gear shifting mechanism of the BMW X5 to Chen Shan. Then, Chen Shan was instructed to take a test drive along the designated route. Chen Shan enjoyed the comfort of the BMW seat, then shifted gears and lightly pressed the accelerator with his right foot, a surge of acceleration washing over him. The experience is absolutely top-notch. After walking around the car, Chen Shan fell in love with the BMW X5. He gradually understood why this BMW was so expensive. Indeed, you get what you pay for. There's a reason why it's expensive. It's a completely different feeling compared to driving his Mazda. 10 minutes later, The BMW X5 was returned to the dealership. Chen Shan and his son, Chen Yang, got out of the car and returned to the crowd. "Sir, how was the test drive experience?" With a smile, Yulin took the initiative to ask Chen Shan. "Very good, excellent." Chen Shan nodded and praised him aloud. Ms. Yu, upgrade the BMW X5 to the maximum specifications. Then, calculate the total cost. Chen Yang was very happy to see that his father loved the BMW X5 so much. He immediately asked the female salesperson, "Please wait a moment, sir. I'll calculate it for you right away." Yulin performed very professionally. She took out a report, checked off the configurations, carefully calculated the costs, and confirmed the prices several times before looking up at Chen Yang and stating the amount. "Sir, after the discount, the final price is 826,000. How do you plan to pay, in installments or?" Chen Yang's expression remained unchanged after hearing the number. But Chen Shan, Wu Yan, and Chen Guang, a family of 3, were taken aback by the amount. After all, this is 826,000, not 82.6 yuan. They had never seen such a large sum of money in their lives. In contrast, Yi Qingye remained quite indifferent to the situation. Yi Qingye had experienced this kind of scene more than once while she was with Chen Yang, so she had gradually gotten used to it. Chen Yang is not only good at making money, but he is also generous when it comes to spending it. He will pay without hesitation as long as he likes it or feels that the money is well spent. Those who don't know him might really think he's a rich young master who likes to spend money lavishly. "No loan needed. I'll pay by card in full. The PIN is the last 6 digits of my bank card number. Then register the car's ownership in my dad's name. At the same time, I have another request. Please make sure to complete the formalities for me as soon as possible, as I need to drive the car away immediately." After Chen Yang finished speaking, he took out a wallet from his pocket, took out a bank card, and handed it to Yulin. Upon hearing this, Yulin was immediately stunned by Chen Yang's extravagant gesture. After all these days, people as young as Chen Yang who can come up with more than 800,000 yuan at once are extremely rare. She initially thought that Chen Yang wanted to apply for a loan to buy a BMW X5. In this way, she can earn significantly more commission. Who would have thought that Chen Yang was so rich? However, Yulin can still receive a considerable commission for selling a top-of-the-line BMW X5. Therefore, regardless of which payment method Chen Yang chooses, she can receive the performance bonus. It's just a matter of how many. Chapter 140 Proficiency Surges, Futures Trading. A moment later, Yulin snapped out of her daze, respectfully accepted the bank card from Chen Yang with both hands, and then immediately prepared the car purchase contract, which she presented to Chen Shan for him to sign. The entire process of completing the procedures went very smoothly. And then, Yulin retrieved the POS machine, and under everyone's gaze, swiped Chen Yang's bank card on the machine and entered the payment password. Beep, payment successful. The receipt slides out from the receipt slot. Yulin quickly handed the payment receipt and bank card to Chen Yang with both hands. "Sir, the payment for the car has been successfully completed. Here is your bank card and receipt. Please keep them safe. If you have any problems with the car later, you can contact me. Our dealership also has professional staff to handle after-sales service." After listening, Chen Yang was very satisfied with Lin's service attitude. The family waited for nearly half an hour until all the formalities were completed. Staff drove a brand new BMW X5 SUV to the store's open space and spontaneously held a handover ceremony, also presenting the car keys and a bouquet of flowers. Chen Yang handed all these things over to his father, Chen Shan. He then handed his phone to Yulin and said softly, "Could you please take a few photos of my family?" "No problem." Yulin readily agreed. Yi Qingye took Chen Yang's arm and posed for a group photo with Chen Yang's family. In the picture, Chen Shan and Wu Yan, a married couple, have incredibly bright smiles on their faces. The smiles of Chen Yang and his brother, along with Yi Qingye, were much more subdued. "Dad, you can drive this car to and from get off work from now on. As for that Mazda, just find a used car dealership and sell it when you have time. It'll still be worth something." Taking the phone from Yulin, Chen Yang sent the photos to his family group chat and also sent them privately to Yi Qingye. Then he looked up at his father, Chen Shan, and offered his suggestion. "Okay, whatever you say." Chen Shan readily agreed. That's true, with this new BMW X5, he certainly wouldn't want the old Mazda anymore. Making the best use of resources is also essential. A few minutes later, the Chen family got into the BMW, and returned to the Shuixi Yunting residential area. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye drove the Mazda home. Noon, Chen Yang personally cooked a large table full of delicious dishes. This time, the dish he made required extremely high knife skills, so it took even longer. The system's feedback on his proficiency level also gave him a big surprise. Knife skills plus 500, culinary proficiency plus 500. Knife skills beginner, 4,500, cooking skills beginner, 4,205,000. The skill is less than 1,000 proficiency points away from being upgraded to the advanced level. This made Chen Yang very excited. The Chen family enjoyed the delicious meal, and all gave Chen Yang a thumbs up for his culinary skills. Son, it's rare for you to come back from Shanghai. This afternoon, take Qingye to see your grandparents. As for your eldest uncle and third uncle's house, there's no need to go. Tonight, Dad will call and invite them over for dinner so the family can celebrate moving into the new house together. What do you think? Chen Shan looked at his son and asked. Upon hearing this, Chen Yang nodded. Okay, let's do as Dad says. After the meal, Chen Guang took over the cleanup work in the kitchen. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye returned to their room and took a nap. Around 2 o'clock, the stock market has resumed trading. Chen Yang opened his laptop and logged into his stock trading software. Looking at the funds sitting idle in his account, he couldn't resist the urge to invest. Having tasted the sweetness of the futures market, Chen Yang has gradually lost interest in the shares market. For those looking to engage in short-term trading and potentially generate substantial profits, the futures market is undoubtedly the best option. In particular, you can trade freely by paying only a 10% margin, which is equivalent to having leverage. After discovering this, Chen Yang was eager to show off his power. Host detected engaging in futures trading. The title God of Investment is being activated. God-level analytical and judgment abilities are materializing. Copper price plus 5%, down 8%. Natural gas prices rose 7% and fell 3%. Soybean oil price plus 5%, down 8%. Various futures data were clearly displayed in front of Chen Yang. Some fluctuate greatly, while others are relatively stable. If it were any other investor, they would absolutely not dare to invest rashly without significant positive news. But Chen Yang is different. He has the title of God of Investment. His investment is like having God's perspective. He can perfectly avoid all kinds of potential risks, accurately grasp the timing of buying and selling, and maximize profits. There's a famous saying in the financial markets: the best investment method is the one that suits you best. For Chen Yang, daring to make a move is tantamount to winning. Do it as soon as you think of it. Chen Yang set his sights on copper futures and began buying. He went all in on the 910 million yuan in his account. Such a large order is like a huge rock being thrown into a calm lake, creating enormous waves. After Chen Yang completed the transaction, the price of copper rose significantly. Plus 1%, plus 2%, plus 2.8%. Just before reaching the plus 3% mark, Chen Yang had already established a position and sold off his shares to cash out. In the market, those big investors and speculative funds almost unanimously believe that this is the best time to drive up prices. Therefore, a large amount of funds were mobilized to buy. Chen Yang's sell order was completely absorbed by them. However, after only one surge, the price of copper plummeted. Chen Yang had anticipated this situation, so he shorted the stock in advance and set a liquidation point. The rise and fall of copper prices all occurred precisely at the points predicted by Chen Yang. This round-trip transaction earned Chen Yang a 13% profit. The account originally contained 910 million yuan, but after Chen Yang's operations for nearly half an hour, it became 1.02 billion yuan. Chen Yang's joy didn't last long. Taking advantage of the fact that the futures market was still open, he chose to press his advantage. Ultimately, Chen Yang made a 10% profit on natural gas and a 13% profit on soybean oil. The account balance surged to 1.27 billion. Yi Qingye suddenly woke up at some point. She saw Chen Yang sitting at the table in front of her, constantly operating the mouse and keyboard, and thought that he must be investing in the stock market. This wasn't the first time she'd seen something like this, so she didn't dare to say anything and disturb them. So she moved lightly behind Chen Yang, her gaze curiously sweeping over the computer screen. Upon seeing this, Yi Qingye was immediately dumbfounded, her face filled with shock. The account was all in the red, and the funds had already exceeded 1 billion, reaching 1.27 billion. It's worth noting that just a few days ago, Chen Yang's account had less than half the amount it has now. Chen Yang, this doesn't look like you're trading stocks, does it? Yi Qingye looked at the computer screen and asked curiously. This is a futures contract. Compared to stock trading, futures trading is riskier, but the returns are also higher. Most importantly, he can engage in short-term trading and trade frequently. Chen Yang smiled and nodded, replying to Yi Qingye. Chapter 141 Loss. That's impossible, taking school beauty Yi to meet grandpa and grandma. Chen Yang, investing in the stock market is already very risky, and you actually went and traded futures. I must say you're incredibly bold. Aren't you afraid of losing money on your investment? Yi Qingye, still shaken, stared at Chen Yang and asked. Losses, that's impossible. I wouldn't dare to invest recklessly without being absolutely certain. After all, I'm not a rich kid. All my money was earned by myself, penny by penny. Chen Yang quietly took Yi Qingye's hand. With a gentle push, he brought her entire body close to his. The faint fragrance emanating from her body made Chen Yang's mind wander. Yi Qingye was completely unaware. She sat on Chen Yang's lap, wrapped her arms around his neck, and leaned her body in an extremely seductive pose that made Chen Yang's mouth go dry. Chen Yang, I like your confidence. It's as if nothing can stump you, Yi Qingye said with a grin. She didn't entirely believe what Chen Yang said, but the results proved one thing. Chen Yang's investment acumen was better than she had imagined. Otherwise, the funds in his account could not have exceeded 1 billion. He achieved fame and success at a young age. The radiance emanating from Chen Yang far exceeded Yi Qingye's imagination. This put a lot of pressure on her. Putting aside family background, in terms of talent and ability alone, Chen Yang can be said to completely crush Yi Qingye. A man as outstanding as him is also extremely attractive to Yi Qingye. After all, admiring strength is a woman's nature. Chen Yang's lips curled up slightly. His eyes filled with aggression as he scanned Yi Qingye's face. After a long pause, he slowly spoke. As your man, isn't providing you with enough security the most basic thing? Yes. Yi Qingye smiled charmingly. Her captivating beauty left Chen Yang speechless once again. The next second, unable to control himself, Chen Yang kissed Yi Qingye's fragrant lips directly. Yi Qingye was startled by Chen Yang's somewhat rough actions. It took her a while to react and respond with her clumsy kissing skills, until breathing becomes rapid and the brain is deprived of oxygen. The two parted reluctantly. Half an hour later, Chen Yang and Yi Qingye left the room, carrying some milk and nutritional supplements, and set off for their grandparents' house. Chenjia Village. An old model Mazda is parked in front of my grandfather's house. Chen Yang carried the gifts into the house, approached the old man and woman, and greeted them. Grandpa, Grandma, your grandson is back. Yang, why are you back at this time of year? When old Master Chen saw Chen Yang's figure, a look of shock immediately appeared on his face. He was genuinely puzzled as to why Chen Yang would return to his hometown at this time. Could it be that something happened at home? He couldn't help but ask immediately. Grandpa, I've finished my university thesis, and now I'm just waiting to get my diploma. I was thinking of bringing my girlfriend home this weekend to meet my parents, you and Grandma. Chen Yang smiled calmly and said, What, you brought your girlfriend back with you? Where is she? Did she come with you? Upon hearing this, Grandpa Chen was surprised to learn that Chen Yang had quietly found a girlfriend. A look of surprise immediately appeared on his face. Look, isn't she right there? Chen Yang pointed to the doorway, where Yi Qingye was standing. Grandpa, Grandma, hello. I'm Chen Yang's girlfriend. My name is Yi Qingye. Yi Qingye stepped forward, revealing a sweet smile, and greeted Grandpa Chen. Girl, you're so beautiful, and you have such a wonderful presence. My grandson is so lucky to have found such an excellent girlfriend like you. Old Master Chen's eyes widened in surprise. He clearly hadn't expected his grandson's girlfriend to be so beautiful, even more so than the big stars on TV. Grandpa, you flatter me. Chen Yang is also very outstanding. It's my luck to have found such an excellent boyfriend. Yi Qingye smiled sweetly, not forgetting to praise Chen Yang's excellence in front of old Master Chen. It must be said that her words made old Master Chen feel extremely favorably toward her. This also demonstrates her high emotional intelligence. Grandpa, Grandma, these are some nutritional supplements we bought for you. Later, you and Grandma can eat slowly and get more nutrition. Chen Yang placed the gifts on the table and then reminded them, No need, your grandma and I are in good health. We have enough to eat and drink at home, so there's no need to spend money on these nutritional supplements. Old Master Chen was used to being frugal and thrifty. Seeing that Chen Yang and Yi Qingye had bought so many gifts, she immediately looked at them with a reproachful expression. But deep down, I was very happy. After all, he could tell that the younger generation cared a lot about and valued the health of the two elders. Grandpa, this won't cost much. Besides, now that your grandson is earning money, consider it a way to show filial piety to you and your grandmother. Chen Yang waved his hand and said. Upon hearing this, curiosity flashed in old Master Chen's eyes. Didn't you say you were just about to graduate? I haven't even found a job yet. Where am I going to earn money? Chen Yang smiled slightly. Grandpa, I studied financial investment in college. So I made some money through investments. I bought a house and a car for my parents, and tonight I'm planning to take you and Grandma to the new house for dinner so our whole family can have a good time. Really? Old Master Chen's eyes widened, revealing an expression of disbelief. It's not that he's questioning it, but rather that the matter is simply too shocking. But reason told Grandpa Chen that his grandson was the top science student in Nanyang City, and a very capable person. Shanghai, being a major city with a developed economy, is brimming with business opportunities. Anyone with some skill and ability can thrive there. It's not impossible that Chen Yang could make a fortune in Shanghai. Grandpa, it's true, I can testify for Chen Yang. And just this morning, he took his uncle and aunt to a car dealership in the city and bought a BMW. On the side, Yi Qingye smiled gently and offered her explanation. Upon hearing this, old Master Chen immediately believed it to be true. Good lad, Yang, you truly deserve to be the most promising junior in our Chen family. He just graduated, and he's already earned more money than the average person could earn in a lifetime. Your parents have finally made it through. A smile of great satisfaction appeared on Grandpa Chen's face. At the same time, it was also from the bottom of my heart that I was happy for Chen Yang's success. Grandpa, Grandma, I've come in my dad's car. In a moment, get in the car, and I'll drive you to the new house for a tour. Chen Yang said with a smile. Okay. Upon hearing this, old Master Chen immediately and readily agreed. At this moment, his eyes were filled with anticipation and excitement. Then he quickly called out to the old lady. Honey, let's go change into some cleaner clothes. We'll go with Yang to see our second son's new house later. Chapter 142. Relatives and elders react in different ways. The same scene. This is also happening at the Chen family's home. Chen Shan took out his phone and dialed the numbers of his eldest brother and third brother. Tell them that their son has returned from Shanghai, and he brought his girlfriend with him. He recently bought a new house, so he wanted to take this opportunity to invite both families to dinner at the new house tonight so that everyone could have a good time. Upon learning this news, Chen Zhang and Chen Xian were immediately incredulous. But after Chen Shan's repeated persuasion, they couldn't suppress their curiosity and quickly agreed to go. Around 5:30, Chen Zhang and Chen Xian, along with their wives and children, arrived at the entrance of the Shuixi Yunting residential area one after the other. Chen Shan had been waiting there for a long time. Big brother, third brother, you've arrived. Come on, come inside with me. Chen Shan warmly stepped forward and called out to his elder brother Chen Zhang and his younger brother Chen Xian. Upon seeing this, Chen Zhang asked in surprise, Second brother, did you really buy a house in the Shuixi Yunting residential area? I've heard that the houses here aren't cheap. A random one costs 700,000 or 800,000 yuan. In our village, that amount of money could at least build a 2- or 3-story self-built house. Brother, I know all of this, but this house is what my son Chen Yang wanted to buy. After all, he's bringing his girlfriend back, and they can't just squeeze into that old, dilapidated house in the village, can they? And there's no time to build it now. So I had no choice but to buy a fully furnished apartment here and move in right away. Chen Shan nodded, agreeing with his elder brother Chen Zhang's statement. But who can blame them when their son paid for the house? He has demands, and as a father, I naturally try my best to meet them. Moreover, this large apartment was carefully selected by Chen Shan and his wife Wu Yan. Aside from the slightly higher price, the location, transportation, layout, and decor are all impeccable. Nonsense. Yang is so young, what does he know? You two have scrimped and saved over the years to send your 2 children to school. You finally managed to save up some money. How can you just throw away your life savings on a house because of something your children say? Besides, as you all know, the real estate industry has been sluggish in recent years, and house prices change every now and then. Who can guarantee that your house won't drop to a dirt cheap price later on? Chen Zhang looked furious and said to Chen Shan with a disappointed expression. Brother, don't be angry. Let me finish what I have to say. Yang Yang paid for this house himself so that my wife and I could buy it, so that when he and his girlfriend come back, they will have a place to stay. My husband and I didn't pay a single penny for that BMW X5. Chen Shan quickly spoke up to explain. What, Yang Yang really paid for it himself? Isn't he only a senior in college this year? Where did he get so much money to buy a house and a car for his family? He wouldn't have done anything illegal, would he? Chen Zhang's face visibly darkened. In his mind, Chen Yang was definitely the most promising person among the younger generation of the Chen family. His future prospects are immeasurable. Chen Zhang himself has high hopes for Chen Yang, hoping he can live up to expectations and build a successful career in Shanghai. He not only brought honor to his parents, but also became a pillar of the family. In the future, I hope to take better care of my family as much as I can. Therefore, Chen Zhang absolutely did not want Chen Yang to embark on a path of illegality and crime for short-term gains, thus ruining his promising future. That would be truly short-sighted and a losing proposition. Brother, you're overthinking it. Don't you, as the uncle, know what kind of character my son is? He studied finance and investment in college, and this money was all earned through his investments. It's completely legal and compliant. If it really was illegal proceeds, how could he dare to spend it so openly? Isn't he afraid that the relevant authorities will be watching him? After hearing his elder brother Chen Zhang's words, Chen Shan was both amused and exasperated. Profits from investments. Chen Zhang looked astonished. It took me more than 10 seconds to come to my senses. Big brother, let's talk about this at second brother's house. What's true can't be hidden, and what's false can't be made true. We'll just ask Yang Yang in person later, and then we'll know for sure. Chen Xian, on the other hand, remained quite calm. The main reason is that Chen Yang is his own nephew whom he watched grow up since he was a child, and he knows very well how capable the other party is. No matter how bad Chen Yang is, he will still be better than the three brothers in the future. Moreover, it's not just a little bit. After all, these days, knowledge is the hard currency for ordinary people to break through cognitive barriers and class differences. Chen Yang, without a doubt, obtained his admission ticket. Someone like him with outstanding looks, exceptional talent, and no connections. If you're lucky enough to receive help from a benefactor, it's not impossible for you to rise rapidly in your career and reach the pinnacle of life. Big brother, third brother is right. This is not the place to chat. Let's go home first and sit down to talk slowly. Xiao Yang and his girlfriend went to see his parents. I reckon they'll bring them over later. If you have any questions, let him answer them personally. Chen Shan smiled and said, Okay, we'll do it your way. After a few seconds of contemplation, Chen Zhang agreed immediately. Soon, led by Chen Shan, everyone arrived at the Chen family's luxurious penthouse, which was several hundred square meters in size. Inside the lobby, Chen Zhang and Chen Xian, along with their wives and children, witnessed the luxurious scene before them, and their faces showed expressions of shock. The exquisitely decorated, luxurious single-level apartment makes a strong visual impact on everyone. Previously, they might only have seen such luxurious scenes in TV dramas, short videos, or advertisements, so they didn't feel much about it. But at this moment, the overwhelming sense of luxury and the pervasive smell of money all around them were a great shock to them. Second brother, this is your new house. It's far too luxurious. What he saw was completely beyond Chen Zhang's comprehension. Logically speaking, as the vice principal of the county's #1 middle school, he was a prominent figure in the small county and had seen many big events. But he never expected that the new house Chen Shan mentioned would actually be the most expensive luxury apartment in the Shuixi Yunting community. He knew very well how high the housing prices were here. But what Chen Shan bought was a fully furnished, luxurious, single-level apartment. This clearly demonstrates one thing: the second son's family has become extremely wealthy. Otherwise, even if the couple saved every penny of their lives, they would never be able to afford this luxurious apartment. That's really extravagant, but there's nothing I can do. My son has high expectations. He had previously given me a sum of money for a house purchase, and I bought it according to the budget he provided. Apart from the fact that it's a bit pricey, there's not a single flaw in this house. When Chen Shan saw his elder brother Chen Zhang, he was amazed by the luxury and grandeur of the house, and he couldn't help but feel secretly delighted. It was worth the time and effort he and his wife spent carefully selecting the items. Chapter 143, a heartwarming scene, the highlight of the MVP award. Second son, you have a good son. To be honest, from the day Zioyang scored 703 points in the college entrance examination and won the title of top science student in Nanyang City, I knew that this child would definitely have a bright future. I thought that if he could establish himself in Shanghai within 3 to 5 years after graduating from university, that would be outstanding. But I never expected that he would earn his first pot of gold in his senior year by relying on his professional knowledge. Chen Zhang took a deep breath and said with a sigh, "It's really surprising. However, this is ultimately a good thing. In this way, my second brother and sister-in-law have finally made it through. Moreover, a true dragon has emerged from our Chen family, and everyone might benefit from it in the future." Chen Xian smiled, his expression full of satisfaction. Then, Chen Shan led everyone on a careful tour of the house, which broadened their horizons. Immediately, they moved to the living room, sat on the sofa, and chatted about old times and everyday life. It took about half an hour. There was a noise coming from the doorway. The next moment, the door was pushed open. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye led their grandparents into the house. "Dad, Mom, you're here." After seeing this scene, Chen Shan immediately stood up, walked over to Grandpa Chen and Grandma Chen, and greeted them with concern. "Second brother, I heard everything from Yang Yang. He bought a car and a house for the family, and your family's life will only get better and better from now on. Although Mr. Chen is old, he is still in good health." His voice was deep and powerful. "Dad, all of this is thanks to Zioyang's hard work and determination. His mother and I were just reaping the benefits without lifting a finger." Chen Shan is very self-aware. Therefore, he spoke with extreme humility, afraid of getting carried away in front of his loved ones and saying something he shouldn't, which might offend them. Uncle, aunt, third aunt, and several brothers, sisters, and cousins. Let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Yi Qingye. She is my classmate from the Department of Foreign Languages at Shanghai University. At this moment, Chen Yang stepped forward, drawing everyone's attention to him. He then spoke, solemnly introducing Yi Qingye's identity to them. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's gaze quickly fell on Yi Qingye next to Chen Yang, and they began to scrutinize her closely. Everyone was incredibly impressed by Yi Qingye's first impression. The reason is that Yi Qingye is incredibly beautiful and has a unique temperament. Her fashionable and trendy brand name, clothing, perfectly accentuated her graceful figure. It made them feel as if they were seeing a big star on TV in person. In particular, Yi Qingye grew up in a wealthy and powerful family, which naturally cultivated her noble temperament. Anyone with a discerning eye can tell that she is not from an ordinary family. Dear elders, brothers and sisters, hello. I am Chen Yang's girlfriend, Yi Qingye, from Kyoto. Yi Qingye was not at all intimidated by the stares of the crowd. Instead, she was poised and confident, a slight smile on her face, and took the initiative to greet everyone. "Girl, you're so beautiful. You and Zioyang look like a perfect match. They are simply a perfect couple, a match made in heaven." Auntie couldn't suppress her smile and immediately praised Yi Qingye. "Yes, I think she's 100 times more beautiful than the big stars on TV." Third aunt was not to be outdone. "Only a woman like myself can truly appreciate the value of Yi Qingye's looks and figure." "Auntie, you flatter me." Yi Qingye smiled demurely and replied, "Grandpa, Grandma, and everyone else, please have a seat. When Qingye and I came back, we bought some gifts for everyone. After dinner tonight, you can all take some back with you." Chen Yang quickly invited the elders to sit down. Then he pointed to the pile of gifts in the corner. "We're all family, no need to be so polite." Uncle Chen Zhang looked at Chen Yang, his tone carrying a hint of reproach. However, the smile on his lips showed no sign of fading. "My nephew is a promising young man who has made a name for himself in Shanghai. While he may not have returned home in glory, he at least knows how to respect his elders. That alone is enough to make him proud. If word gets out, it'll probably make a lot of colleagues envious. Uncle, it is precisely because I consider you all as family that I share my joy with you as soon as I achieve even a small success. After all, it's better to share happiness than to enjoy it alone. Besides, these gifts are a token of our affection, and they're not worth much money. Therefore, please do not refuse." Chen Yang met his uncle Chen Zhang's gaze, a faint smile appearing on his face, and replied, "Good lad, your uncle really did love you well." Upon hearing these words, Chen Zhang couldn't stop smiling, his heart filled with satisfaction. "Dad, Mom, make some tea for everyone. Qingye and I are going to the market to buy some more ingredients. Tonight, I'll cook a delicious meal for everyone. I'm sure you'll all have a great time and enjoy yourselves to the fullest." Chen Yang said to his parents, Okay, leave this to us. Upon hearing this, Chen Shan quickly nodded in agreement. Brother, why don't we go and help out? Chen Hong, the eldest son of Chen Yang's uncle and his cousin, suddenly spoke up. Brother Hong, we don't need too many people, just one or two will do. Chen Yang considered that he would need help moving the ingredients later, so he nodded. However, only one or two people are required to go with them. Okay, then I'll go with Yao Yao. Chen Hong pointed to his younger sister and said, Good. Chen Yang readily agreed. Chen Hong and Chen Yao are both a few years older than Chen Yang. Chen Hong majored in social management in college and returned to his hometown to take the civil service exam after graduation. He successfully passed the exam 2 years ago and is currently an office clerk in the county. Chen Yao studied at a teacher's college, and after graduation, through her uncle's connections, she was assigned to be a teacher at a primary school in the county. It can be said that, under the visionary planning of their uncle, Chen Yang's 2 older cousins each have promising futures. While they may not become extremely wealthy, their future lives are very secure. When Chen Yang was a child, he often followed them around and played, so they had a very good relationship. After taking the BMW X5 car keys from their father, Chen Shan, the group left their home and went to the parking lot downstairs. Beep beep. Chen Yang pressed the car key. A brand new BMW X5 stopped in front of them, its lights flashing and its engine humming. Brother Hong, Sister Yao, get in the car. I'll show you around and let you experience the new car. Chen Yang looked at Chen Hong and Chen Yao and said with a smile, Holy crap, it's a BMW X5. This car must have cost at least 5 or 600,000 yuan if paid in full. Brother, you've really struck it rich. Looking at the brand new BMW X5 SUV in front of him, Chen Hong became completely excited. Chapter 144. Advanced knife skills, advanced culinary skills, and 3 random divine recipes as a reward. I was lucky a while ago and caught a good market trend, so I made some money from my investments. We just bought this car at a dealership in the city this morning with our family. The highest configuration costs over 800,000 yuan in full. Chen Yang smiled and spoke calmly to his cousin Chen Hong. Buying a house and a car. Brother, is the little bit of money. You mentioned several million. Chen Hong tried his best to calm his excitement. A moment later, he stared intently at Chen Yang and asked, although he knew it was inappropriate to inquire about Chen Yang's income in person. But there was nothing he could do, he was just too curious. Fortunately, Chen Yang was his younger brother whom he had watched grow up. Because of this relationship, Chen Hong believed that the other party would not hide anything from him. More than, Brother Hong, I can't tell you the exact amount, but I can tell you one thing for sure. I'm not short of money right now. So in the future, if you are short of money and need to use it, just call your brother. I'll do my best to help you in this regard. In his heart, Chen Yang actually cares a lot about family. In particular, the eldest uncle and the third uncle's family. Therefore, he is very willing to help them whenever he can. After all, for Chen Yang now, wealth is just a string of numbers. Problems that can be solved with money are minor problems. After hearing Chen Yang's words, Chen Hong and his sister Chen Yao were immediately dumbfounded. It turns out they had underestimated Chen Yang's abilities. But thinking about it, it makes sense. If Chen Yang hadn't made a name for himself, he wouldn't have had a girlfriend as beautiful and elegant as Yi Qingye. Her family background may be beyond their imagination. Chen Yang must possess exceptional qualities to be valued by Yi Qingye. Although the specific reasons are unknown, it cannot be denied that Chen Yang is a talented and capable person. Soon, everyone got into the car. Chen Yang started the engine and drove towards the vegetable market. After a big shopping spree, I bought a lot of fresh meat, seafood, and vegetables. Finally, we drove back to the Shuixi Yunting residential area. Everyone carried the ingredients and headed upstairs. Dad, Mom, I'm home. After entering the house, Chen Yang greeted his parents. Zhaoying, why did you buy so much food? Are we going to finish it all? When Uncle Chen Zhang saw his son and daughter carrying so many ingredients, he couldn't help but say something. Uncle, there are so many people in our family. We must have quite a large appetite. Moreover, my cooking skills have improved a lot recently, and the dishes I make are so delicious that you won't be able to stop eating them. The reason I bought so much is because I'm afraid there won't be enough for everyone to eat. Chen Yang smiled calmly and said, Oh, really? There's such a thing? Uncle Chen Zhang's eyes flashed with curiosity. Brother, it's true. Last night, Zhaoying personally showcased his culinary skills. Our whole family was completely overwhelmed by the aroma of his cooking, and we all ate until we were stuffed. Upon hearing this, Chen Shan couldn't help but speak up to explain. In that case, we'd better enjoy Xiaoyang's cooking tonight. Upon hearing this, Uncle Chen Zhang immediately became interested and said with a smile, Xiaoyang, it must be very tiring for you to cook for so many people all by yourself. Your aunt will come and help you out and share some of the workload. Aunt smiled gently. Okay, then I'll trouble you, Auntie. Chen Yang did not refuse. After all, one more person means one more source of strength. This will also greatly improve his cooking efficiency. My third aunt also came to help. Third aunt also quickly spoke up. Soon, Chen Yang carried the ingredients into the kitchen. Fortunately, the kitchen is spacious enough to accommodate 5 or 6 people at the same time. Otherwise, with everyone crammed in there, it would be difficult to even turn around and grab something. Third aunt, could you please help me rinse all these meats and vegetables to make them clean? Then process the ingredients. Leave the rest of the work to me. Chen Yang pointed to the ingredients in the shopping bag. No problem. My eldest aunt and third aunt were both housewives. Over the years, they have been the ones cooking and taking care of the family's daily life. I'm already very familiar with these kitchen tasks. The two of them were not only skilled, but also extremely efficient. Chen Yang picked up the cutting board, placed the raw meat to be sliced on it, and began to slice it lightly with a knife in his right hand. Host detected cooking, knife skills proficiency plus 100. Knife skills proficiency plus 100. Chen Yang's technique was skillful, his movements fluid and graceful. With his superb knife skills, the slices of meaty cuts are almost uniform in thickness and have clear texture. It looks like a work of art. I never expected Xiaoyang's knife skills to be so amazing. It would be impossible to do this kind of knife skill without 7 or 8 years of experience. It's like the kind of knife skills that come from a professional culinary school with systematic training. The angle and force of each cut are perfect, just like a machine. That's strange. Wasn't Xiaoyang going to university in Shanghai? Where did he learn to cook? Looking at the scene before me, the eldest aunt and the third aunt's eyes flashed with shock and disbelief. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed that Chen Yang possessed such abilities. Knife skills proficiency plus 100. Chen Yang's knife skills had reached a high level of mastery, and he could wield them with ease. Pieces of raw meat were sliced into paper-thin slices under his knife. Their knife skills and proficiency are also increasing dramatically. Knife skills proficiency plus 100. Knife skills have been improved from beginner to advanced. Advanced knife skill 010000. The next moment, a detailed memory of advanced knife skills immediately surfaced in Chen Yang's mind. It is being absorbed and digested rapidly. After a while, he felt that he had the skill level of a knife with more than 20 years of experience. I have gained a deeper understanding of knife skills and the force required. The eldest aunt and the third aunt only felt a blur before their eyes. Chen Yang's swordsmanship seemed to have become even more formidable. Soon, all the ingredients were chopped, and the side dishes and seasonings were ready. Chen Yang put on an apron, and his demeanor changed abruptly. Heat the oil in a wok, a master chef's demeanor full of poise. One dish after another was cooked up by his rudimentary culinary skills. Host detected cooking, cooking proficiency plus 100. Increased difficulty detected for the dish, cooking proficiency plus 200. Increased difficulty detected for the dish, cooking proficiency plus 200. Congratulations, host. Your cooking skills have been upgraded from beginner to advanced. Advanced culinary skills 010000. Trigger a hidden achievement and randomly reward 3 god-level recipes. Host, would you like to begin the random reward process now? The next second, a virtual light screen immediately appeared in front of Chen Yang. The screen displayed line after line of text, with red exclamation marks constantly appearing at the end, repeatedly reminding him. Chapter 145, a skill that amazed everyone, delicious food that won hearts, god-level scrambled eggs with tomatoes. I watched as my cooking skills improved from beginner to advanced. Immediately, memories of advanced culinary techniques flooded Chen Yang's mind. This caused his cooking experience to skyrocket. I have gained a deeper understanding of aspects such as controlling the heat, seasoning ratios, and selecting various fresh ingredients. He could clearly feel that his culinary experience was much richer than before. It took a lot of effort to absorb and digest this memory. Chen Yang's gaze quickly fell on the virtual screen in front of him. The system had already given a warning previously. Once his cooking skills reach the advanced level, he will be able to obtain God-level recipes. Chen Yang was excited about this for several days. Now he has finally succeeded in leveling up, and the system has specially rewarded him with 3 God-level recipes. And it's a random reward. In other words, Chen Yang cannot specify a particular dish. Everything depends on the system's free rewards. The reward might be Cantonese cuisine, or it could be Sichuan or Shandong cuisine. Anyway, it's one of the 8 major cuisines. Realizing this, Chen Yang took a deep breath and silently recited in his mind. System, now reward 3 random God-level recipes. As the host wishes, reward with 3 God-level recipes. God-level scrambled eggs with tomatoes, God-level braised pork, and God-level garlic honey chicken wings. The next second, the recipes for these 3 divine dishes were compiled into a memory and integrated into Chen Yang's brain. Ultimately, he absorbed and digested it, transforming it into a genuine craft. He can create these 3 divine dishes anytime he wants. My God, this divine recipe is truly amazing. The preparation method alone is so meticulous. I can't even imagine how delicious it will taste. Chen Yang couldn't help but sigh inwardly. More than an hour later, one by one, delicious dishes, perfect in color, aroma, and taste, were prepared. Chen Yang asked his aunt and third aunt to help carry it out. He himself plans to make another divine tomato and egg stir-fry. Compare the taste of dishes made according to a God-level recipe with those made by his superior culinary skills, and see just how big the difference is. Fortunately, the process of making scrambled eggs with tomatoes is not complicated. In about 15 minutes, this divine tomato and egg stir-fry was ready. Chen Yang personally carried it out of the kitchen, then came to the dining room and placed it on the dining table. At this time, all eyes turned to Chen Yang, curious about what the final dish he would prepare would be. When I looked at it, it turned out to be just scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Disappointment was evident on everyone's faces, but it vanished in an instant as their gaze returned to the other dishes. After all, there was a huge table with more than a dozen dishes. It is a feast for the eyes, nose, and palate, and its presentation is exquisite. Anyone who didn't know would definitely think they had hired a hotel chef to cook at home. Otherwise, it would be absolutely impossible to reach this level. Just now, my sister-in-law and I were helping Xiaoyang cook in the kitchen, and we were completely stunned to see him display his superb knife skills. His knife skills are in no way inferior to those of a hotel chef. After the eldest aunt finished speaking to everyone, he stared intently at Chen Yang, then asked, Xiaoyang, did you sign up for a chef training course? Otherwise, where did you learn such professional cooking skills? Upon hearing this, Chen Yang smiled and explained, Auntie, I'm quite interested in cooking, so I often search for cooking videos online and practice following along. My cooking skills were developed step by step. Perhaps I have some talent in this area, so the dishes I make taste pretty good. Qingye and his parents both like him very much. Upon hearing this, Chen Shan immediately nodded in agreement. Xiaoyang has been smart since he was a child. He not only studies well, but also learns other skills much faster than the average person. As long as he really puts his heart into learning, it's not difficult for him to develop good cooking skills. Grandpa Chen smiled kindly and then said, No matter how much you talk, it's not as good as trying it yourself. The words were spoken. Grandpa Chen picked up his chopsticks and took a piece of beef from the table in front of him. The beef, coated in broth, bursts with an incredibly delicious flavor in your mouth. The soft, tender, and smooth texture bursts forth on the taste buds of the tongue. Delicious, the beef is fresh, tender, and smooth, with a delicate texture that is soft but not dry. The heat and seasoning are controlled perfectly. This is absolutely the best stir-fried beef I've ever eaten in my life. Grandpa Chen's face showed an expression of great enjoyment, and he highly praised Chen Yang's cooking skills. Seeing this, Uncle Chen Zhang picked up a piece of stir-fried pork with his chopsticks and started eating. The next moment, Uncle Chen Zhang's eyes gleamed, his face filled with shock. He was a leader in some way, and had attended many business banquets and eaten many dishes prepared by master chefs. But at this moment, he could confidently guarantee that no chef could make stir-fried pork that tasted as good as the dish Chen Yang made himself. Absolutely amazing. The taste is really great. Xiaoyang, your cooking skills are just as good as those of a hotel chef. It could even be said that it is even worse. With your cooking skills, I guarantee you could apply to any hotel and become the head chef. The boss will offer you a high salary and beg you to stay. Uncle Chen Zhangchao gave Chen Yang a thumbs up, sparing no praise. It wasn't just him. After everyone present tasted Chen Yang's cooking, they all had only one thought: delicious, incredibly delicious. So instead of chatting, everyone at the table tacitly immersed themselves in the culinary feast. Seeing this, Chen Yang smiled with satisfaction. Clearly, this situation was something he had anticipated. Chen Yang used a soup spoon to scoop some scrambled eggs with tomatoes and some broth into a bowl. Then he placed it in front of Yi Qingye and said softly, "Qingye, this is a recipe for scrambled eggs with tomatoes that I learned from an old recipe. The method is very particular, so I guess the taste must be extraordinary. Can you taste it for me and see how it tastes?" Upon hearing this, a hint of curiosity flashed in Yi Qingye's eyes. However, seeing that Chen Yang spoke with such conviction, she had no choice but to nod in agreement. She thought that this tomato and egg stir-fry would taste similar to what she usually ate. But just one bite. Yi Qingye then realized she was wrong. And that's completely wrong. The flavors of eggs and tomatoes blend together perfectly. An extremely delicious flavor burst forth in her mouth and on the taste buds of her tongue. This delicious flavor seems to belong not to the mortal world, but to the celestial realm. It not only satisfied Yi Qingye's appetite, but also elevated her spirit and soul. This food is absolutely insane. Chen Yang, how did you do that? Why is this seemingly ordinary scrambled eggs with tomatoes so delicious? It's like a completely different dish from anything I've had before. Yi Qingye gripped Chen Yang's arm tightly, looked at him incredulously, and asked a question. Chapter 146, God-level recipe. Incredibly delicious. Planning to invest in opening a restaurant and invite relatives to join. Is it really that delicious? Chen Yang saw that Yi Qingye was very excited, even more so than when she ate the other dishes he had made. For a moment, he also felt a bit curious. Certainly. If you don't believe me, try it yourself. This tastes absolutely divine. If you hadn't made this tomato and egg stir-fry yourself, I would have suspected that you added some kind of technology or some crazy tricks. After Yi Qingye finished speaking, he picked up the tomato and egg mixture with his chopsticks and brought it to Chen Yang's mouth. Seeing this, Chen Yang did not refuse and opened his mouth to eat. Upon tasting, the tomatoes and eggs, coated in the broth, burst with an amazing aroma on the taste buds. The eggs are rich and fragrant, while the tomatoes have a unique sweetness. The two complement each other perfectly. It was as if a magical chemical reaction had occurred, making the dish incredibly delicious. It's so delicious it's explosive. The power of a god-level recipe is terrifying. Only at this moment did Chen Yang understand why Yi Qingye had reacted so strongly. This seemingly ordinary scrambled eggs with tomatoes tastes absolutely better than any other dish on the table right now. The difference between the divine recipes rewarded by the system and the dishes made by Chen Yang with his advanced culinary skills is simply too great. It's really delicious. Chen Yang nodded, gaining a clear understanding of the taste of dishes made with divine recipes. At this moment, Yi Qingye looked at Chen Yang with more admiration and worship. Under her watchful eye, Chen Yang's culinary skills improved day by day. Such terrifying learning talent is already astonishing, but she never expected that Chen Yang had such a hidden skill. This moment, Yi Qingye finally realized that she had truly struck gold. Having such an outstanding boyfriend, she can't even imagine how wonderful her future life will be, or how many women will envy and be jealous of her. Everyone shared in the joy of the meal, tasting almost every dish Chen Yang prepared and praising his culinary skills endlessly. It wasn't until his cousin Chen Hong tasted this tomato and egg stir-fry that he was immediately amazed. "Is this still scrambled eggs with tomatoes? Why does it taste so good?" These words immediately attracted everyone's attention. "I know Xiaoyang is a good cook, but you don't need to be so loud and boisterous. What kind of talk is that?" Seeing his son's intense reaction, Uncle Chen Zhang frowned slightly and couldn't help but lecture him. "Dad, I'm not exaggerating, but the tomato and egg stir-fry my brother made is absolutely delicious. If you don't believe me, try it yourself. I feel this tastes better than any other dish on this table. It's unforgettable." Chen Hong looked completely innocent and quickly explained. Upon hearing this, Chen Zhang became curious and picked it up with his chopsticks to taste it. Then, in the next second, his expression became unusually rich. After a long pause, Chen Zhang looked at Chen Yang and slowly said, "Xiaoyang, your cooking skills have probably reached the level of a 5-star hotel chef. This tomato and egg stir-fry is, without exaggeration, absolutely better than 99% of professional chefs. Everyone was impressed by Chen Zhang's high praise for Chen Yang's culinary skills. Soon, everyone started to try this tomato and egg stir-fry. Everyone was incredibly amazed by the taste of the scrambled eggs with tomatoes, and even more so by the sheer astonishment they felt. Only then did I understand why Chen Zhang and his son Chen Hong had reacted so strongly earlier. Chen Yang's culinary skills have indeed reached an extremely high level. An ordinary chef could never possess his culinary skills. Xiaoying, have you ever considered opening a restaurant in the future? With your culinary skills, I guarantee everyone who tries your food will be amazed. Your business might even surpass the famous Mangxianglu restaurant in the city. Uncle Chen Zhang asked jokingly. In fact, this is a good suggestion, and it is highly feasible. With Chen Yang's culinary skills, the business is bound to be successful. Uncle, I opened a hot pot restaurant in Shanghai with my best friend Kingya. We just opened a couple of days ago, and business is booming. The catering industry still offers quite considerable profits. But ultimately, it's still not as lucrative as the financial industry. Investing as a side business is a good option. If you're interested, I can open a restaurant in my hometown and have my aunt, my mother, and my third uncle and aunt manage it. Over the course of a year, I should be able to earn a considerable amount of money to supplement my household income. Chen Yang thought about it carefully. I think my uncle's suggestion is pretty good. After all, he's not short of money now, and investing in a restaurant in his hometown wouldn't cost much. Most importantly, it not only provides my mother with a livelihood, but also helps my uncle and third uncle's family to become wealthy together. Son, are you serious? Are you really going to open a restaurant in your hometown and have the elders in your family help run it? Chen Shan's eyes narrowed, and his expression became extremely serious. Actually, he had always had this idea in his mind, to let his son, Chen Yang, help his eldest brother and third brother's family as much as he could. Despite being the vice principal of the county's #1 middle school, my elder brother has always been honest and incorruptible, and never accepts bribes or favors. At the end of the year, all you get is a salary. Since marrying into the family, my sister-in-law has been a full-time housewife, taking care of the family and children. Over the years, I've relied entirely on my older brother's salary to make a living. Now that the children have finally grown up and I'm able to go back to work, I have to start worrying about their marriages. This is another large expense. Even if the eldest brother saves every penny on his salary, he can't save much money in a year. The third brother and his wife run a small shop. After deducting rent, utilities, and daily expenses, one still can't save much money at the end of the year. Not to mention, their 2 children are still young, and they need money for high school and college fees. In fact, Chen Shan's family situation was not much different from theirs. The only change is that Chen Yang made money from his investments and has now become extremely wealthy, which has brought about a dramatic transformation in Chen Shan's family. Chen Shan has maintained a good relationship with his 2 brothers over the years. Therefore, when Chen Yang had the ability, Chen Shan sincerely hoped that his son could lend them a hand. I don't expect them to become extremely wealthy, but at the very least, they should be able to make a decent living and have something to look forward to. So, when Chen Shan heard with his own ears that his son wanted to invest in a restaurant in their hometown and have the 3 families run it together, he was actually very excited. Of course it's true. My eldest uncle and third uncle are my closest relatives, and they have treated me well. Now that I have the ability, it's only natural that I should lend them a hand. I have the capital and the skills. If I open a restaurant in my hometown, making money will be a piece of cake. Besides, you should at least have a job to keep you occupied. Otherwise, your lives will be too boring. Chen Yang nodded solemnly and then spoke to his father, Chen Shan. As soon as he said that, the people sitting around the dining table all had a hint of excitement in their eyes. Everyone has just tasted Chen Yang's cooking skills. If he really wanted to open a restaurant in his hometown, the business would be quite successful, if not booming. Most importantly, he didn't do it all by himself. Instead, they brought along 3 families. This means that they can all get a share of the profits. How could they possibly remain indifferent? Chapter 147, The True Dragon of the Chen Family, the leading figure of a prosperous clan. Xiaoyang is right. You are all one family, so you should work together to make a good life for yourselves. For a family to prosper, everyone needs to work together. Now, Xiaoyang is young, but he has already built a successful career through his own abilities and is willing to step forward for the development of the family and lead everyone to prosperity. Therefore, I hope you will all work hard from now on and not let Ziyang down. Although Mr. Chen did not attend school for many years, he had a wealth of life experience and had witnessed many families rise from humble beginnings to prominence and decline. As the old saying goes, harmony in the family brings prosperity. Whether a family can rise to prominence is closely related to whether its members are united, and whether their hearts are united. Otherwise, even if a prodigy emerges in the family, it will be difficult to lead a family that is fragmented and constantly embroiled in conflict to rise to prosperity. Dad makes a lot of sense. Then we'll follow Ziyang's arrangements. I believe that as long as we work together, we will definitely have a prosperous future. Chen Shan nodded in agreement, completely agreeing with the old man's words. He felt both gratified and proud. It's gratifying that Chen Yang, despite his young age, possesses exceptional talent and outstanding abilities. He earned his first pot of gold solely through his own efforts. What I'm proud of is his kind heart and gratitude. Even when he's wealthy, he's willing to use his own money to help his relatives. This is a rare and valuable quality. That's true. Uncle Chen Zhang also showed a relieved smile. Seeing this, Chen Yang slowly said, "Grandpa, Dad, don't worry. As long as I'm here, our family will only get better and better in the future." Chen Yang was absolutely confident about this. Everyone could clearly feel the confidence emanating from Chen Yang, and they were very happy. Dinner is over. My aunt, mother, and third aunt were washing dishes in the kitchen. Chen Yang and his elders sat on the sofa drinking tea and chatting about daily life and work. In particular, the discussion focused on the relationship between Chen Yang and Yi Qingye. Chen Yang was very patient and answered all the questions one by one. More than an hour later, the crowd began to disperse. At this time, the father, Chen Shan, drove his grandparents back to their old house. Chen Yang and Yi Qingye took a bath during this time, and then Chen Yang went into the study to explain problems to his younger brother, Chen Guang. Detected that the host is explaining core high school math concepts to his younger brother, Chen Guang. Instructor skill plus 200. Explanation of high school science knowledge points. Lecturer skills plus 200. Explanation of high school essay writing techniques for achieving a perfect score. Instructor experience plus 200. Explanation of Manchu writing techniques in high school English. Instructor experience plus 200. Basic instructor skills, 805,000. After 2 hours of careful explanation, Chen Yang's skills and experience as a junior instructor increased rapidly, while his younger brother Chen Guang also gained a great deal of insight and benefited immensely. "Brother, you're amazing. After your teaching, all the difficulties that had been bothering me for so long seem to have been solved. I am confident that I can get a higher score next time I encounter this type of question. In that case, my total score in the mock exam might improve significantly. Breaking the 700 mark doesn't seem so difficult anymore." Chen Guang looked at his brother Chen Yang with excitement and said, "That's good. Go back and do a few more past college entrance exam papers to test your abilities. Of course, targeted training for incorrect and difficult questions should not be neglected. At your current study intensity, you'll definitely be able to easily pass the college entrance exam." Chen Yang smiled slightly, appearing quite indifferent to the matter. "My younger brother's learning talent isn't as strong as mine, but it's not far behind. Now, with his older brother personally teaching him, plus the buff from being a junior instructor, he has been empowered with various attributes. The college entrance exam is nothing to me. I can easily pass it. I can't say I'm 100% the top scorer in the college entrance examination, but I'm the undisputed top science scorer in Nanyang City." When that day comes, Chen Yang can already foresee how radiant the smiles will be on his parents' faces. The next morning at 7 o'clock, Chen Yang woke up to find the sun already shining outside. He saw Yi Qingye lying in his arms, sleeping soundly. He carefully moved her aside, and then went into the bathroom to wash up. I changed into a tracksuit and left the room. Meanwhile, Chen Shan, the father, and Wu Yan, the mother, had already gotten up and were preparing breakfast. "Son, why are you up so early today? Why didn't you sleep in a little longer?" After spotting his son Chen Yang, Chen Shan couldn't help but ask curiously. "I'm used to it. Dad, I'm going out for some exercise." Chen Yang smiled and replied, "Good." Chen Shan nodded upon hearing this. He had always had the habit of exercising in the morning before he knew about his son, so he wasn't surprised. After Chen Yang went downstairs, he found that the green environment around the community was quite good. After jogging around the neighborhood a few times, I found a quiet open space to practice Bagua Yulong Palm. Host detected practicing Bagua Yulong Palm. Palm technique proficiency plus 100. Host detected practicing Bagua Yulong Palm. Palm technique proficiency plus 100. Host detected practicing Bagua Yulong Palm. Insight gained. Palm technique proficiency plus 1000. Beginner Bagua swimming Dragon Palm. 2105,000. Chen Yang ignored the system prompts. At this moment, he was completely immersed in a mysterious state. His palm techniques were completely spontaneous and natural. That aura seemed to be ingrained in his very bones. Smack, smack, smack. Just then, a round of applause suddenly came from behind Chen Yang. He stopped practicing, turned around and looked ahead. There stood a middle-aged man, around 40 years old, with his feet shoulder-width apart and his posture upright. He had a square face, wheat-colored skin, thick eyebrows, big eyes, and a piercing gaze. He exuded an aura of authority that commanded respect and made others feel dignified. Young man, you're quite skilled. Which school of martial arts did you just practice? The moves and footwork were perfectly coordinated. In actual combat, it will surely unleash astonishing power. Fang Zheng stepped closer to Chen Yang, asking with a smile in his eyes. Uncle, I'm just doing random exercises to improve my health. I hope you'll forgive me. Chen Yang did not give a direct answer to Fang Zheng's question. After all, he had only met the other party by chance, so he naturally wouldn't voluntarily reveal his secrets. Upon seeing Chen Yang's response, Fang Zheng knew that the other party was wary of him. He smiled slightly and said softly, "My name is Fang Zheng. I joined the army when I was young. Because of my excellent military skills, I was promoted to officer by my superiors. During that time, I personally led the team to participate in many battles, and I also suffered considerable injuries as a result. In the end, I could only regretfully retire from the military. The palm technique you just performed was both strong and gentle, clearly indicating that you were taught by a master. That's why I asked you a few more questions on a whim. Young man, please don't take offense." Chapter 148, Retired Soldier King Fang Zheng engages in spa. After hearing Fang Zheng's words, Chen Yang immediately lowered his guard. The look in his eyes immediately filled me with respect. After a moment, he said respectfully, "Uncle Fang, I didn't expect you to be a retired soldier. To be honest, I had the idea of joining the army a long time ago, but I gave up because of my family." Fang Zheng nodded slightly, showing a good impression of Chen Yang. So I asked a few questions. "Young man, what's your name? Do you also live in this neighborhood?" "Uncle Fang, my name is Chen Yang, and I'm a student at Shanghai University. I just moved here with my family, and we haven't lived here for more than a few days." "Are you also a resident of this community?" Chen Yang smiled and asked softly, "The apartments in Shuxi Yunting are not cheap. I can't afford them. I'm here to see a former leader. His family lives here. I happened to run into you exercising here, so I came over out of curiosity." Fang Zheng's voice was loud and clear, and his blood and energy were vigorous. Judging by her complexion, she looks much better than her peers. "Well, in that case, I won't bother you any longer. I worked up a good sweat during my workout, so I'll take a hot shower when I get home." Upon hearing this, Chen Yang made an excuse to leave. "Chen Yang, don't rush off." However, Chen Yang hadn't taken more than a few steps when Fang Zheng called out to him. Seeing this, Chen Yang turned around and looked at Fang Zheng with curious eyes. "Uncle Fang, is there something you need?" Fang Zheng smiled gently and said slowly, "I can see that you are quite skilled at martial arts at such a young age. Your skills are not weak, so I would like to spar with you." "Of course, we'll stop here." Upon hearing this, Chen Yang's expression froze for a moment. However, upon closer reflection, this is a good opportunity for him to gain practical experience. After all, based on his experience, sparring with experts would improve his proficiency in Bagua Yulong Palm more quickly, and would also be more conducive to improving his own strength. Chen Yang hesitated for only 2 seconds before readily agreeing. "All right, then please give me your guidance, Uncle Fang." Fang Zheng had assumed that Chen Yang would refuse outright. After all, although it is nominally a friendly exchange, fists and feet have no eyes. If you can't control your strength, you can easily get injured. The two met by chance, and if they were to actually fight and cause serious injury, it wouldn't be good for either of them. But Chen Yang's answer was unusually straightforward. Fang Zheng even caught a glimpse of excitement and eagerness in Chen Yang's eyes. Sure enough, people who practice martial arts tend to be aggressive and like to compete to see who is better. Come on, I've trained in military combat techniques and strangulation techniques. You'd better watch out. Fang Zheng's face revealed a strong sense of confidence. In his view, Chen Yang certainly had some ability, but compared to himself, he was still too inexperienced. Being able to hold out for more than 10 rounds against you is already considered excellent. Uncle Fang, this palm technique of mine is called Bagua Yulong Palm. It is a traditional Chinese martial art passed down from an old master's family. So you're the one who should be careful. Chen Yang's lips curled up slightly, his face revealing the youthful vigor and strong confidence in his own abilities. Fang Zheng's face darkened, and he raised his fists to shoulder width, making a fighting stance. The next second he pushed off with his right leg, unleashing tremendous speed, and his figure rushed towards Chen Yang like a sharp sword. A right straight punch was aimed at Chen Yang's chest. Chen Yang's eyes narrowed, and he keenly judged the landing point of Fang Zheng's right fist. He slightly shifted his body and avoided the opponent's attack without any danger. Fang Zheng's attack was indeed a test, so he did not unleash his full strength. Seeing how easily Chen Yang had diffused his attack, his expression became more serious. He immediately realized that Chen Yang was not just a show-off, but actually had some real skills. Next, the two exchanged blows for several rounds, with Fang Zheng on the offensive and Chen Yang on the defensive. Chen Yang, stop hiding and show your true strength. Fang Zheng frowned as he saw that Chen Yang showed no intention of launching an attack. The next moment, he reminded Chen Yang, Uncle Fang, I'm sorry to offend you. The words were spoken. Chen Yang's demeanor suddenly changed. The next second, he charged at Fang Zheng with the force of a tiger descending a mountain. Seeing this, Fang Zheng did not retreat but advanced. They will also adopt a head-on approach, determined to defeat Chen Yang. Unfortunately, he underestimated Chen Yang's strength. Chen Yang struck Fang Zheng's right shoulder with a precise palm strike. However, his fist was firmly held by Chen Yang, making it impossible for him to move forward or backward even slightly. In a battle between masters, a single move can determine the winner. Uncle Fang, I'm sorry to offend you. After saying that, Chen Yang released Fang Zheng's fist, took 2 steps back and made a fist salute. Fang Zheng was stunned for a few seconds before he gradually came to his senses. After a long pause, he finally spoke up and sighed. I'm getting old, not as good as you young people. I thought I could fight you to a standstill. I never expected you to defeat me in one move. Chen Yang shook his head slightly and said modestly, Uncle Fang, I learned Chinese martial arts fighting techniques. The principles behind your military combat tactics are the same. Emphasis on efficient enemy control, every move must draw blood. Therefore, whether you win or lose depends on every single move. Fang Zheng looked at Chen Yang with more appreciation in his eyes. Not bad, you are so young, yet you have such high attainments in the field of martial arts. You are truly a force to be reckoned with. Let's exchange contact information. We can communicate more in the future if we have the opportunity. After saying that, Fang Zheng took out a small notebook and a pen from his pocket. Then he wrote down his name and contact information, tore off the paper, and stuffed it into Chen Yang's hand. Uncle Fang, then I'll leave you my number too. Seeing this, Chen Yang borrowed Fang Zheng's paper and pen and left his mobile phone number. After exchanging a few pleasantries, they turned and headed home. Detected that the host just had a sparring match with retired soldier Wang Fangzheng and defeated him in one move. Bagua Swimming Dragon Palm Proficiency plus 2000. Beginner Bagua Swimming Dragon Palm 40105,000. A virtual light screen quickly appeared in front of Chen Yang. At the same time, a system notification sounded in my ear. Although he had anticipated that sparring with Fang Zheng would improve his proficiency in Bagua Yulong Palm, he never expected it to increase by a full 2,000. Also, Uncle Fang is actually a retired elite soldier. No wonder he always exudes an arrogance that is hard to describe in words. That was not only absolute confidence in its own strength, but also a manifestation of the sharp-edged spirit forged in the blood and fire of countless battles. But regardless, Chen Yang really hit the jackpot this time. At the same time, he vaguely sensed a way to quickly improve his skill proficiency. However, it will take many attempts before a conclusion can be reached. Fang Zheng watched Chen Yang's departing figure, his eyes filled with admiration. I never expected that visiting my old leader would lead me to run into a martial arts master. This kid was holding back during our sparring session. If I hadn't deliberately provoked him, he probably wouldn't have realized how vast the difference in skill between me, a retired veteran, and him is. Moreover, I have a feeling that he hasn't used his full strength. What a terrifying guy. Chapter 149, strolling around the commercial district, buying real estate for the family. After returning home, Chen Yang took a shower and changed his clothes. Then they went to the living room and had breakfast with Yi Qingye. Father Chen Shan and younger brother Chen Guang have gone to school, leaving only mother Wu Yan at home. So Chen Yang decided to take his mother and Yi Qingye out for a stroll. While you're at it, take a look around and see if there are any suitable shops nearby for opening a restaurant. If possible, buy them as real estate for your family. In this way, even if the parents don't have to do anything in the future, they can still earn a sum of money each month from renting out the shop to cover their daily expenses. Linjiang County is not considered poor. Its GDP ranks relatively high among the many counties in Nanyang City. Therefore, although it is a small county town, the commercial and food streets in the core area are very prosperous, and there are obviously quite a few merchants. Chen Shan drives the old Mazda to work, leaving the BMW X5 specifically for Chen Yang. So Chen Yang drove his mother and girlfriend Yi Qingye to Xinxiandi shopping mall for a stroll. I bought a lot of things for my mother and the family, including food, drinks, and other necessities. After that, the car turned onto several bustling commercial streets. I conducted an on-site inspection and took a thorough tour. I found that this place is very mature in terms of both the flow of people and the business environment. If you can take over a store here, even if you don't run a restaurant at home, you can still make money by renting it out to others. Son, you brought us here and we've taken a walk around. Are you planning to open a restaurant here? Wu Yan saw her son Chen Yang go through the research and fall into deep thought, and soon she had a guess in her mind. So she walked up to him and asked with a curious look on her face. Yes, Mom, this place isn't too far from our Shuixi Yunting residential area. Besides, it's a well-known commercial street in this area, with a lot of customers coming here to eat and shop every day. As long as the food isn't bad, a restaurant here will definitely make money. Moreover, I don't plan to rent the shop, but to buy the entire store. Even if my family decides not to continue running the store later, we can sublet it to other businesses and collect rent. This can be considered as adding real estate to the family, killing two birds with one stone. Upon hearing this, Chen Yang smiled faintly and explained softly, Mom doesn't know much about business matters. Anyway, you earned this money yourself, so you can decide how to spend it. Wu Yan is very self-aware. She clearly understood one thing. Her knowledge and abilities were far inferior to her son's. Therefore, she dared not express any opinion on this matter, for fear that her words might influence her son's judgment. But she felt from the bottom of her heart that what her son had just said made a lot of sense. This is the most central location in the nearby commercial district, boasting the largest flow of customers. If they can't make money by opening a shop here, then it just means that their family is simply not suited for business. Of course, she had absolute confidence in her son's cooking skills. Therefore, there are no concerns or worries in this regard. Chen Yang nodded slightly. He then strolled to a storefront and saw a banner that read Prime Location for Sale, which piqued his interest. He strode inside with his mother and girlfriend, only to find it was a hot pot restaurant selling bullfrogs. The interior decoration and layout looked decent. However, business is extremely slow. It's almost lunchtime and there are only a handful of customers. No wonder the owner is eager to sell. Sir, would you like to have a meal? Not long after, a waiter came forward and greeted Chen Yang with great enthusiasm. Chen Yang shook his head slightly and said softly, I didn't come here to eat. Is your boss here? I'd like to talk to him about the transfer of the shop. Upon hearing this, the waiter's face showed a hint of shock. After a moment, he came to his senses and immediately replied to Chen Yang, Sir, please wait a moment. I will have our boss come over right away. After saying that, the waiter strode inside. A few minutes later, then a middle-aged man, about 50 years old, slightly overweight, with thinning hair but a prosperous face, came to Chen Yang under the guidance of the waiter. The boss's name is Wang Fugui, and he is from Jiangsu and Zhejiang. Over the years, I've traveled all over the country, doing business in various places, and my business has expanded significantly. This hot pot restaurant is just one of his many businesses. Recently, I took my wife back to my hometown and checked out the local businesses. I discovered that this hot pot restaurant had been losing money for 6 consecutive months with no signs of improvement. Therefore, after careful consideration, He decided to transfer the store to recoup funds and make it easier to invest in other businesses. For this matter, Wang Fugui has been asking agents and friends to help him contact potential buyers this week, but there has been no news for the time being. Unexpectedly, a boss actually came to his door today, which made him very excited, so he rushed over without waiting. "Boss, this is the gentleman who's looking for you. He says he wants to talk to you about transferring the shop." The waiter glanced at Chen Yang, then whispered a reminder to Wang Fugui. Upon hearing this, Wang Fugui's gaze quickly fell on Chen Yang, and he carefully examined him. He had delicate features, wore luxurious clothes, and possessed a dignified bearing. Judging from Chen Yang's image, temperament, and fashion sense alone, Wang Fugui secretly gave him a high score. Respect the clothes first, then respect the person. This statement allows you to quickly assess someone's value when you don't know them well. In addition, people who are economically wealthy all have one thing in common. His appearance and temperament are definitely far superior to those of ordinary people. Even without deliberately dressing up, it's obvious. "Young man, I'm the owner of this shop. My name is Wang Fugui. May I ask your name?" Wang Fugui smiled, his enthusiasm not fawning, and looked at Chen Yang with gentle eyes as he asked. "Hello, Mr. Wang. My name is Chen Yang. These two are my mother and my girlfriend." Chen Yang smiled slightly and introduced. "Hello. I heard from the receptionist that you want to talk to me about transferring the shop. Is that right?" Wang Fugui made a polite remark. Then they got straight to the point. "Yes, that's right. Mr. Wang, shall we find a place to sit down and have a detailed discussion?" Chen Yang nodded slightly and said, "No problem, this way, please." Wang Fugui had the same idea. He then turned sideways, made a gesture of invitation, and led Chen Yang and his group into the store, into a fairly spacious, separate tea room. After the group took their seats, tea was served. Wang Fugui smiled and looked at Chen Yang, then asked again, "Mr. Chen, judging from your accent, you seem to be a local, right?" Mr. Wang has a good eye. "That's right, I'm a native of this place, but I've been studying and working in other places for a relatively short time. I came back this time with the intention of setting up some businesses in my hometown. It just so happens that I saw the prime location for sale sign posted outside Mr. Wang's shop, so I came here specifically to inquire and see what's going on." Chen Yang smiled calmly and replied in a measured tone. "You can't see any trace of the immaturity or naivety of a college student in him. Some people have simply developed a calm and composed demeanor after years of navigating the complexities of society." Chapters 150-151, shop priced at 2.88 million, purchased in full. 2 chapters combined into one. This is mainly because Chen Yang started doing part-time jobs in his spare time from his freshman year of college. During that time, I changed jobs many times, met all sorts of people, and had a variety of experiences. Now, thanks to the system, he has achieved complete financial freedom. This calm and composed demeanor naturally develops within them. Let alone Wang Fugui, he's just an ordinary small business owner. Even if he were a billionaire worth hundreds of billions, Chen Yang could still remain as calm as he was at this moment in front of him. His true confidence stems from his own strong abilities. After hearing Chen Yang's words, Wang Fugui's opinion of him rose even higher. At least in terms of presence, he far surpasses his peers. At the same time, he was also subtly observing Wu Yan and Yi Qingye out of the corner of his eye. Wu Yan looked very ordinary, no different from the other women in the county town. However, Yi Qingye stood out from the crowd. She was not only stunningly beautiful, but also exuded an air of nobility. This temperament was cultivated in her childhood environment. Anyone who has interacted with people in high society will find a common thread. That is, children who grow up in these families will carry this kind of noble air about them. Unique and cannot be replicated. Wang Fugui has been in business for many years, navigating various circles and developing a keen eye for people, enabling him to categorize them into different classes. Powerful and wealthy families are classified as first class. Despite having no connections, he holds a high-ranking but second-class position within the system. Nouveau rich, corporate executives, ordinary merchants, common people. Every identity has its own corresponding category and value. Yi Qingye was undoubtedly placed in the highest rank by Wang Fugui. If Chen Yang had an ordinary background, there would be only one other reason why he could find such an outstanding girlfriend. His talent and ability are simply too outstanding. He was outstanding enough that Yi Qingye would be willing to be with him, regardless of her family background. After all, things like this are all too common in powerful and wealthy families. In the eyes of true wealthy and powerful families, their children are never sacrifices. They have no need to sacrifice their happiness for personal gain. They knew that interest could only be obtained through mutual exchange. Forcibly binding people together through marriage is simply not feasible at certain times. Mr. Chen, my store has a total area of 300 square meters and is located in the core business district of the county. In terms of location and potential, it is absolutely first class. If I hadn't been so overwhelmed and didn't have the energy to manage it, I wouldn't have been deceived by my subordinates, leading to poor store management, losses, and ultimately, the need to transfer ownership. Wang Fugui forced a smile and said to Chen Yang, "Yes, what Boss Wang said makes sense. However, business is business. Mr. Wang can't take advantage of my youth and ask for an exorbitant price. After all, doing business requires integrity, which is the way to long-term success." Chen Yang nodded and echoed. Then his tone shifted, becoming much sharper. These words caused Wang Fugui's expression to change slightly. He hesitated for a moment before finally speaking slowly. "Mr. Chen, there aren't many stores in the core commercial area of this county that can be sold as a package. I won't charge a high price. You just need to increase the market price by 20%, and you can take this store from me directly." Chen Yang narrowed his eyes. He had already learned in advance that the shops here cost 8,000 yuan per square meter. If Wang Fugui's request is met, and the price increases by 20%, that would be 9,600 yuan per square meter. In total, the shop's price is 2.88 million. To be honest, this price is indeed a bit too expensive. But Wang Fugui was not lying. Shops in prime locations are generally rented out rather than sold because they inherently possess appreciation potential. A 20% premium is not considered exorbitant. It was just a lucky coincidence that Chen Yang happened to run into Wang Fugui, who was planning to transfer ownership of the shop. Otherwise, if he had bought such a large shop in a prime location from another owner, he would have had to pay at least a 30% premium. Moreover, the other party may not even agree. Wang Fugui was eager to get rid of the stock, which is why he was willing to sell it at a low price. Normally, he wouldn't have let himself suffer such a loss. "Mr. Wang, as far as I know, shops in prime locations cost 8,000 yuan per square meter. Your shop is 300 square meters. Based on your requirements, your final asking price for this shop is 2.88 million yuan. Is that right?" Chen Yang remained calm. After estimating the total price in his mind, he immediately confirmed it with Wang Fugui. "That's right. As long as you come up with 2.88 million, this shop is yours. We can process the property transfer contract and procedures immediately and guarantee that the handover will be completed in the shortest possible time." Wang Fugui nodded and replied earnestly, "Okay, it's settled then. I'll buy this shop. Have someone prepare the contract now. After we sign it, I'll make the payment on the spot." Chen Yang didn't haggle and agreed immediately. After all, this shop wasn't expensive for him. Secondly, its existence brings greater value to the Chen family. Therefore, this transaction is absolutely profitable. Furthermore, given Chen Yang's earning power, he could easily earn back less than 3 million by simply moving his fingers in the futures market. In conclusion, he spent the money without any pressure. Reeled, Wang Fugui was taken aback. He was still wondering whether Chen Yang would try to lower the price, and what his target price was. And how much profit should I concede to make this deal happen? After all, the existence of this shop not only failed to bring him any profit, but also incurred various expenses every day. Keeping it would only make it a hot potato, so it was better to get rid of it as soon as possible. In this way, he can not only stop the loss in time, but also recover some funds, thereby easing his financial pressure. However, Chen Yang didn't haggle at all and readily agreed, so much so that Wang Fugui even wondered if he had sold it at a loss. "Certainly, Mr. Wang is kind-hearted, so I can't let you suffer a loss. At this price, neither of us is losing out too much. Consider it me making friends with Mr. Wang. But I still need Mr. Wang to help me find a reliable construction team for the store renovation and decoration, so that I can save myself a lot of trouble." Chen Yang smiled slightly. Taking advantage of this break, he made his request to Wang Fugui. "No problem, it's no big deal. Mr. Chen is a straightforward person, and I'd be very happy to be your friend. After the contract is signed, I will personally call and arrange for someone I know to renovate your shop to your satisfaction." Wang Fugui's lips curled into a smile as he excitedly spoke. Then, Wang Fugui immediately made a phone call, instructing his subordinates to prepare the shop transfer contract, and then personally delivered it to the store. 20 minutes later, a freshly printed shop transfer contract, still smelling of ink, was delivered to Wang Fugui. Wang Fugui handed it to Chen Yang, smiling as he said, "Mr. Chen, please take a look at the contract and see if there are any problems. If there are no problems, just sign it." Chapter 151. Signing a contract, planning to open a hot pot restaurant. Chen Yang would naturally not be careless about a shop transaction involving nearly 3 million yuan. He took the shop transfer contract and read it carefully. After confirming several times that there were no loopholes in the contract, he looked up at Wang Fugui. "The contract is fine, let's sign it now." After speaking, Chen Yang picked up a pen and signed his name at the end of the contract. The strokes are strong and elegant, like iron hooks and silver lines flowing like a dragon. An artistic signature appeared on the contract. Chen Yang put in a lot of effort to perfect his signature. Fortunately, his hard work paid off, and the result was quite good. Mr. Chen is a young and promising man with an imposing presence. I never expected that his calligraphy, like himself, would be so unique and distinctive. It is truly admirable. Although Wang Fugui is not highly educated, it does not mean that he lacks vision and taste. Although I am a layman and don't understand font art, but Chen Yang's signature gave him a pleasing feeling. He smiled slightly and praised her generously in front of everyone. "Mr. Wang, you flatter me. It's just a hobby I do in my spare time." Chen Yang smiled calmly and said modestly. On the side, Yi Qingya was also surprised when she saw Chen Yang's signature. This was the first time she had realized that Chen Yang's handwriting was actually so beautiful. Dragons and phoenixes dance, magnificent and grand. As the saying goes, one's handwriting reflects one's personality. It is clear that Chen Yang harbored lofty ambitions. The contract was made in duplicate. After Chen Yang signed it, Wang Fugui quickly wrote his name and pressed his fingerprint on it with ink. The signing process went very smoothly. Afterwards, Chen Yang took out his phone and asked Wang Fugui for his bank card number. He withdrew a sum of money from the investment account to his own bank card and then transferred it to the other party. But a few minutes later, Wang Fugui received a text message from the bank on his mobile phone, informing him that someone had transferred 2.88 million yuan into his bank account. "Mr. Chen, the money has arrived. From this moment forward, this shop officially belongs to you. Regarding the renovation team you requested, here's their contact information. Their name is Lai Qiang, and they're the team leader. If you need any renovations, just contact them. Of course, you can mention my name to him. Since we're acquaintances, he'll give you a good discount." As he spoke, Wang Fugui took out his phone, opened his contacts, and handed it to Chen Yang. Lai Qiang's name and mobile phone number were displayed on the screen. "Then thank you, Mr. Wang," Chen Yang replied with a smile. At the same time, he wrote down Lai Qiang's contact information. Then, Wang Fugui gathered all the store employees together, led Chen Yang to the front, and introduced him to everyone. "Everyone, I have sold this shop to Boss Chen. From today onwards, he is your new boss." Wang Fugui looked at Chen Yang and said, "Mr. Chen, say a few words." Upon hearing this, Chen Yang nodded in agreement. His eyes swept over the dozen or so employees. Then he slowly opened his mouth and said, "Hello everyone, my name is Chen Yang. I just bought this shop from Boss Wang. Originally, I planned to renovate and open a Chinese restaurant. But after walking around the nearby shops, I found that quite a few people run restaurants here. In addition, this shop is a hot pot restaurant. Perhaps due to some factors, business is not very good. But it's okay. Since I chose to take over, I have the confidence and the ability to make the business a success. Are you all locals?" A young man at the front nodded and replied, "Boss, most of us are locals and have been working at this hot pot restaurant for several years." "Boss, you must need staff to run your restaurant. Why don't you hire us?" Chen Yang smiled after listening. "Don't worry, I won't fire you. Such a large shop, whether it's a restaurant or a hot pot restaurant, will need manpower. You are very experienced. If you are willing to stay and continue working here, I would naturally welcome you warmly." Upon hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Their biggest worry is that they will lose their jobs if they change bosses. But the result was clearly not as bad as they had imagined. "Mr. Chen, I'll leave this place to you. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave now." Wang Fugui took his leave. "Okay, Mr. Wang, take care." Chen Yang, of course, did not stop him and watched him leave. Wu Yan's gaze fell on her son, and she suddenly asked, "Son, you're not planning to open a restaurant, or are you planning to open a hot pot restaurant instead?" Chen Yang nodded. "Mom, you're right. A restaurant needs a head chef with signature dishes to build a reputation and retain customers. Only then can the business thrive. Even if I'm willing to teach you and your third uncle and aunt how to cook, cooking skills are hard to learn quickly. Even if you hire a chef to cook it, it's difficult to make it into a high-quality dish. On the contrary, if you choose to open a hot pot restaurant, I only need to teach you the secret recipe for the hot pot soup base and the dipping sauce. Once you learn these secret recipes and keep them firmly in your hands, I guarantee that your business will be booming and you will all make a fortune." Chen Yang plans to replicate the entire route of Xiangxiang Pavilion at this hot pot restaurant. Firstly, opening a hot pot restaurant has a low barrier to entry. As long as you have Chen Yang's secret soup base recipe and dipping sauce recipe, and hire a few chefs to cut vegetables and meat, as well as front desk staff and waiters, you can start operating immediately. Secondly, Chen Yang's culinary skills have improved from beginner to advanced. Therefore, the soup base recipe and dipping sauce recipe have also been improved to some extent. In a small county town, this would be an absolute delicacy, a true game changer. "Auntie, I think Chen Yang's idea is fantastic. My best friend used the hot pot soup base recipe and dipping sauce secret recipe given to her by Chen Yang to open a hot pot restaurant in Shanghai's food court. The business was booming on the opening day, and the turnover exceeded 100,000 yuan. Although the county's economy cannot compare with that of Shanghai, there are still many middle-class families with a relatively high level of consumption. If our hot pot restaurant opens, the taste will be so delicious that people will rave about it. Through word of mouth, it will definitely attract people to dine in the restaurant as soon as possible. Once they taste the hot pot, they will automatically become loyal customers, and it will be hard for the business not to be booming." Yi Qingye expressed her strong approval of Chen Yang's idea, so she immediately looked at Wu Yan and said with a serious expression, "Real?" Wu Yan looked somewhat excited. Although she had never run a business before, seeing how confident Chen Yang and Yi Qingye were, she couldn't help but feel hopeful. "Mom, it's settled then. I took advantage of these 2 days to contact the person in charge of the renovation and asked him to make some minor adjustments to the hot pot restaurant. And I will pass on the core recipes for the hot pot broth and dipping sauce to you and your third uncle and aunt. You can practice a little, and once you reach the required standard, the hot pot restaurant can reopen. Whether it can make money or not, we'll see." Chen Yang made the decision immediately. Wu Yan didn't say much, tacitly agreeing with her son's actions. Chapter 152, with a wife like this, what more could a husband ask for? Junior designer. Night. The main hall of the Chen family was brightly lit. Chen Yang personally cooked a large table of delicious dishes. Knife skills experience plus 500. Cooking proficiency plus 500. Advanced knife skills, 501,000. Advanced culinary skills, 501,000. He then realized that as he advanced to a higher level, his knife skills and culinary abilities had reached an extremely high level. Incidentally, his skill proficiency is also improving rapidly. Although there is still a long way to go before reaching the master level, the progress is very obvious. This is undoubtedly good news for him. The family sat around the dining table. At this moment, Chen Yang finally spoke up. "Dad, this morning I took Mom to the commercial district in the county town. By chance, I came across a prime shop for sale, so I talked to the owner to find out more about it. After some negotiation, I finally bought the shop for 2.88 million yuan in full, and the contract has already been signed. All I need to do is go to the Industry and Commerce Bureau to complete the formalities, and the shop will officially belong to our family." This store was originally a hot pot restaurant. It mainly served bullfrogs and fish. After careful consideration, I've decided not to open a Chinese restaurant. I want to use this storefront to open a beef and mutton hot pot restaurant. I have the recipes for hot pot soup base and dipping sauce. I will teach the recipes to my mother, my third uncle and aunt. They will be responsible for making these at the store from now on, and we can hire people to do the other work. I guarantee that the hot pot restaurant will be a huge success and bring substantial profits to our Chen family. What do you think? Chen Yang had already made up his mind about this matter, but he still planned to tell his father. After all, Chen Shan is the head of the family. He has the right to interfere in this matter and needs his strong support. "Son, have you thought this through?" Chen Shan looked up, his gaze meeting Chen Yang's, and asked with a serious and earnest expression. Dad, this is still the most suitable business for our family to accumulate our first pot of gold. I can guarantee that you will make a profit without any loss. Chen Yang nodded and replied, All right, since you've made up your mind, then let's do it your way. If you need anything, just ask, and Dad will fully support you. Chen Shan pondered for a moment before speaking. Thank you, Dad, Chen Yang said with a smile. Dinner is over. Chen Yang accompanied Yi Qingye for a walk downstairs. After walking around for a while, I finally sat down on a wooden chair. Qingye, you've had a hard time these past 2 days. After I've sorted things out back home in the next couple of days, I'll take you back to Shanghai. Chen Yang looked at Yi Qingye, his eyes filled with tenderness and love. No rush. Anyway, I'll just be bored at home when I get back to Shanghai, so I might as well experience some local customs in this small county town. Moreover, the environment here is quite nice, and the pace of life is relatively slow, which I quite like. Yi Qingye leaned on Chen Yang's shoulder, her tone languid. Shanghai, a bustling economic city, is known as the city that never sleeps. But on the streets, most people are busy commuters and workers, living at a fast pace. Everyone is busy working and making money. It's like a tireless machine, repeating the same thing every day. Even though Yi Qingye comes from a noble family and lives a privileged life, she still bears pressure. Since arriving in Chen Yang's hometown and spending a few days in this small county, her overall mental state has improved considerably. If possible, Yi Qingye would really like to stay a few more days. Okay, I'm glad you like it. I was worried you'd be bored here and couldn't wait to get back to Shanghai. The small county town is located in a remote corner. The pace of life is slow, and life is comfortable. But staying here for too long can also make people lose their fighting spirit. So you can only come back occasionally to recharge. If you really want to make a name for yourself, you have to go to a big city. There are the best resources, the top talents in various industries, and more business opportunities. Chen Yang gently stroked Yi Qingye's hair and said in a calm voice, Chen Yang, I know you're under a lot of pressure, but it's okay. No matter what, I'll always stand by your side and face it together with you. Yi Qingye wrapped her arms around Chen Yang's waist and gently nuzzled her head against his chest. To be honest, if Chen Yang hadn't met her, he wouldn't have had to face the pressure from her parents at all. With his abilities, he could earn a little money, find a beautiful girlfriend, and live a comfortable life. Unlike now, where one needs to constantly strengthen oneself and prove with strength that one is qualified to become the son-in-law of the Yi family. Of course, on the other hand, with great power comes great responsibility. Once Chen Yang passes Yi Qingye's parents' test and gains their approval, being the son-in-law of the Yi family, that title alone is enough to propel him to the top and directly into the elite class. At that time, Chen Yang will go into business and build his own career. That would surely bring great success and make everything go smoothly. As the old saying goes, no pain, no gain. Chen Yang is currently going through a tough time. But once he gets through it, the harvest season will arrive, and that's when life will be sweet. Good. Chen Yang could sense Yi Qingye's feelings. With a wife like this, what more could a husband ask for? Chen Yang secretly vowed that he would never let Yi Qingye down in the future, and that he would make sure she lived the best life possible. The next morning, 9 o'clock, Chen Yang dialed Lai Qiang's number, explained his purpose, and proactively mentioned Wang Fugui's introduction. Lai Qiang was very polite, and the two agreed to meet at the store. When Chen Yang drove to the store, Lai Qiang had already been there for a while. Mr. Chen, Mr. Wang called me last night to tell me about the renovation you need for the shop you bought. These are all referrals from long-term clients. I, Lai Qiang, will definitely guarantee the quality and quantity of the project and complete it for you in the shortest possible time so that you can open for business as soon as possible. Tell me, what are your plans to change? Upon seeing Chen Yang, Lai Qiang smiled warmly and said, The layout of the hall doesn't need major changes, just a simple renovation will suffice. Give me a separate area in one corner and set up a few private rooms. The interior decoration of the private rooms should be as distinctive and luxurious as possible. For the specific details, have the designer draw up a diagram for me. If there are any problems, we can make minor adjustments to the diagram. Once the diagram is finalized, I'll have to trouble Mr. Lai to expedite the renovation. As for wages, that's not a problem. Chen Yang smiled calmly. After exchanging a few pleasantries, they immediately got to work and presented their opinions and needs to Lai Qiang. Upon hearing this, Lai Qiang nodded decisively. No problem, I'll call right now and have the company send someone over to draw up the plans. and the renovation workers will come on site at the same time. We guarantee Mr. Chen will be satisfied. Lai Qiang is decisive and efficient. After talking with Chen Yang, they immediately took action. About half an hour, a group of people arrived at the store. The designer began drawing drafts based on Chen Yang's requirements. The other workers began measuring the site and recording the data. Chen Yang stood next to the designer, watching him draw the drafts. Host detected, currently observing a designer drawing drafts. Design thinking plus 1000, drawing proficiency plus 1000. Activate designer skills beginner level 05000. Chapter 153. I casually sketched a rough draft, a devastating blow. As the system voice sounded, a virtual light screen instantly appeared before Chen Yang's eyes, recording various data in detail. The next second, a designer's memories flooded his mind about how to design, sketch, measure space, and aesthetics. Then it was gradually absorbed and digested by Chen Yang. It eventually became a skill he had studied for many years. Chen Yang looked at the designer's sketches again and quickly grasped his thought process and ideas. He frowned slightly, indicating that he was not very satisfied. So he went up to the designer, asked for paper and pen, and started drawing. The designer glanced at Chen Yang out of the corner of his eye and saw that Chen Yang actually dared to dream of drawing the design himself, and a hint of disdain immediately flashed through his mind. However, because Chen Yang was the client, they dared not reveal it. About 15 minutes later, the designer finished the sketches and then showed them to Lai Qiang. It's well drawn, very skillful. Okay, I'll show this to Mr. Chen. If he thinks there are no problems, then we'll proceed with the renovation and modification according to the design you provided. Lai Qiang nodded slightly and said to the designer, "Yes, brother Lai." The designer nodded respectfully, secretly glancing at Chen Yang. Seeing that Chen Yang was still immersed in his own world, drawing design drafts, he couldn't help but feel a little amused. Lai Qiang took the design draft and walked up to Chen Yang. "Mr. Chen, the designer's drawings are finished. I've taken a look and the effect is quite good. You can take a look and see if there are any problems. If not, then our renovation team will proceed with the work according to these blueprints." Chen Yang ignored him, continuing to scribble and correct with his pencil. This action made Lai Qiang's expression darken. Seeing that Chen Yang was treating him like he was invisible, Lai Qiang felt a surge of anger. Just as he was about to lash out, Chen Yang stopped what he was doing a second later. Then he flipped the newly drawn blueprint over and handed it to Lai Qiang. "Mr. Lai, I had some ideas just now, so I quickly drew a sketch. You're a veteran in the renovation industry. Could you please give me your opinion?" Upon hearing this, a look of surprise flashed across Lai Qiang's face. He never expected that Chen Yang would actually draw a design sketch himself and even ask him for feedback. What the hell? Could it be that Chen Yang also knows how to design and draw sketches? Isn't he the shop owner? When did he learn about these things? With this in mind, Lai Qiang took the sketch Chen Yang handed him and glanced at it casually. With just one glance, Lai Qiang was completely stunned and stood frozen in place. Then she stared intently at Chen Yang with an incredulous look. "Mr. Chen, tell me the truth. Did you study design before? Otherwise, how could your drawing skills be so good? Moreover, the concept and design of this sketch are much better than what our company's designers came up with." After his initial shock, Lai Qiang asked Chen Yang, "I've learned a little bit. I just looked at your designer's design concept and composition, and I personally don't think I'm particularly satisfied. That's why I dared to draw one casually. If Mr. Lai thinks this design is feasible, I think we can proceed with the design based on this approach. We'll need to trouble Mr. Lai to provide a budget estimate to determine the exact cost." Chen Yang smiled slightly and said calmly. After listening, Lai Qiang scrutinized Chen Yang for a moment before sighing. "Mr. Chen, you are truly multi-talented. Since you have personally given the order, I will naturally do as you request. After all, you're our company's client, and from my personal perspective, the artwork you designed yourself is indeed quite unique. If I were the client, I would definitely make the same choice as you." Chen Yang nodded in satisfaction. "Then I'll have to trouble you, President Lai." Lai Qiang was very efficient and immediately instructed his construction team to do the calculations. The total cost of materials and labor is 156,000 yuan. Upon hearing the price, Chen Yang said he could accept it. So Lai Qiang was told to start work immediately. Lai Qiang readily agreed. Then I called the partner to deliver the materials to my door, and the renovation workers immediately got to work. "Leave the store," Chen Yang returned to the Shuixi Yunting residential area. My aunt, uncle, and aunt were sitting on the sofa in the living room, chatting with my mother, Wu Yan. Aunt, you've arrived. I hope I haven't kept you waiting too long. Chen Yang stepped forward and greeted the elders. No, we just arrived a short while ago. Zioying, why did you call us to your house in such a hurry? Is something the matter? The aunt looked at Chen Yang and then asked, Didn't I say a couple of days ago that I wanted to open a restaurant with my eldest uncle and third uncle's families? So yesterday I took my mom to the core business district of the county and bought a shop. This shop used to serve bullfrog and fish hot pot, but the owner sold it to me because of poor management. After much thought, I decided not to open a restaurant, but instead to open a beef and mutton hot pot restaurant. The core selling point of the hot pot restaurant is the hot pot soup base and dipping sauce recipe I have. My best friend Kingya and I opened a hot pot restaurant in Shanghai. We completely opened up the market by using hot pot soup base and dipping sauce recipes, and achieved a daily turnover of over 100,000 yuan. Having learned from past mistakes, I believe our hot pot restaurant can also succeed and make everyone a fortune. Chen Yang organized his thoughts. Then he spoke to his aunt and uncles. What? Zioying, you actually bought a shop in the core business district of the county, just to open a hot pot restaurant. Upon hearing Chen Yang's words, the eldest aunt, the third uncle, and the third aunt all looked shocked. They never expected that Chen Yang would be so willing to invest so much. It's worth noting that although Linjiang County doesn't rank highly in Nanyang City's GDP, the prices in the core commercial area of the county town are by no means cheap. I thought Chen Yang's talk of investing in a restaurant meant he was just renting a small storefront and taking a steady, step-by-step approach. But who would have thought that he would buy a storefront in the core business district of the county without saying a word, all for the sake of opening a hot pot restaurant for everyone? Such a generous gesture left the eldest aunt, third uncle, and third aunt feeling flattered and overwhelmed. After all, doing business in such a prime commercial location, if the business is successful, can bring in a fortune every day. Even if the eldest uncle and third uncle's family only receive a small portion of the share, it will still be a considerable sum. It's definitely 100 times better than working a regular job. Yes, that's right. Either don't do it at all, or do it to the best of your ability. The reason I invited you to my home is to teach you in person how to make hot pot broth and dipping sauce. This is the core competitiveness of our hot pot restaurant, and also our most crucial secret, so it can only be kept in the hands of our own family members to prevent any possibility of leakage. Chen Yang said with a serious expression and full of confidence. Chapter 154. The Master's Secret Recipe, the Instructor's Skills Shine. Zioying, tell us what to do, we'll listen to you. The aunt could tell that Chen Yang genuinely wanted to lead the family to wealth. That's why he spent a lot of money to buy shops in the core business district of the county. They even took the initiative to teach them the recipes for hot pot broth and dipping sauce. Aunt was filled with joy. He immediately said to Chen Yang with a look of satisfaction, Sister-in-law is right. Zioying, we've never run a restaurant before and we have no experience with these things. Just tell us what to do. Third uncle replied with a serious expression. Mom, have you bought all the ingredients and groceries I asked you to buy? Chen Yang looked at his mother, Wu Yan, and asked. I bought them and put them all in the kitchen. Wu Yan nodded and quickly replied. Aunt, third uncle, and third aunt, Mom, come with me to the kitchen. I'll demonstrate it for you right now and emphasize a few points you need to pay attention to. If you're worried about forgetting it, you can record it on your phone and review it several times later. It's not difficult. As long as you remember the recipe and proportions, you can get the hang of it quickly after a few tries. Chen Yang spoke softly and gently, not wanting to put pressure on them. Immediately, he led several elders toward the kitchen. Inside the kitchen, Chen Yang laid out all the necessary seasonings on the table and began to explain them carefully. Host detected teaching a relative how to make hot pot broth. Beginner instructor skill activated. Junior instructor skill. Imparting knowledge to others can improve their comprehension ability by 20% and their practical skills by 20%. Junior instructor experience points plus 500. Basic instructor skills, 1300-5000. After half an hour, the process of making the hot pot soup base recipe was broken down and demonstrated to the public. The eldest aunt, the third uncle and third aunt, and the mother Wu Yan seemed to have some understanding. I wouldn't say I've mastered everything, but I've at least mastered about 60–70%. I'm not very familiar with this step yet, but with more practice and to deepen my understanding, I think I'll be able to do it. As soon as the soup base was successfully prepared, a rich aroma filled the kitchen. Chen Yang poured all the prepared ingredients into the soup base. Then they began to explain the secret recipe for the dipping sauce. In front of the elders, he prepared the ingredients on the spot. Once the ingredients in the pot were cooked, Chen Yang used a ladle to scoop them out and place them on a plate. Aunt, uncle, Aunt, mom, you all have to try it. See how the hot pot broth and dipping sauce I made taste. Chen Yang handed the chopsticks to them and said with a smile. Upon seeing this, with a mix of curiosity and anticipation, everyone started tasting it. Dip the beef in the sauce and put it in your mouth. The taste is absolutely amazing. It was so delicious that I almost bit my tongue. The broth is delicious and rich, and when dipped in the signature seasoning, it elevates the texture and flavor of the beef to another level. The beef hot pot tasted several times better than any other restaurant they had ever eaten at. Until this moment, only then did his aunt, uncle, aunt, and even his mother, Wu Yan, truly understand why Chen Yang had such confidence in the hot pot restaurant business. With the secret recipes for hot pot broth and dipping sauces in hand, one can make a fortune even in a big city like Shanghai. Such delicious food, placed in a small, third-tier county town, would be a complete game changer. I'm afraid that by then, anyone in the entire county with a bit of money will be fighting tooth and nail to get a seat in their own hot pot restaurant. Delicious, this flavor is absolutely amazing. Zioying, your aunt has great confidence in the hot pot restaurant you opened. Auntie beamed with joy, and the smile on her face never stopped from that moment on. Zioying, your third uncle was worried that you would be going back to Shanghai in a few days and wouldn't be able to work as a restaurant chef. Now you're teaching us to cook, but even if we're very capable, we won't be able to learn many dishes. At that time, it will be difficult to compete with other restaurants. But now you've switched to a hot pot restaurant. With this hot pot broth and dipping sauce recipe, making our business bigger and stronger is no longer a problem. Uncle Chen Xian looked at Chen Yang with eyes full of satisfaction, and also with a hint of admiration. He never expected that his nephew, at such a young age, would already possess so many skills for making money. In a few years, he might just become a real big boss. Looking across the entire county, those wealthy people who have been entrenched in the area for many years and whose backers are complex and intertwined, their wealth is probably not even a drop in the ocean compared to their nephews. Uncle Chen Xian sighed with excitement. Third uncle, I have considered all your concerns and worries. That's why I changed my Chinese restaurant to a hot pot restaurant and came up with a more competitive recipe that would also make more money for my family. But as the old saying goes, competitors are enemies. I'm also worried that if our business is too good and takes away business from other hot pot restaurants in the area, they might hold a grudge. I'm afraid they might team up and do something underhanded behind the scenes. This will not only affect our store's business, but may also pose a threat to the personal safety of our family members. Despite his young age, Chen Yang is calm and composed, and he is both bold and meticulous in his work. Plan 5 steps ahead for every one step you take. Be prepared for any eventuality. Interpersonal relationships in small counties are complex, and people value social connections and background. In particular, they are familiar with the relevant local officials. They'll use any means necessary to protect their business. Zioying, what you said makes some sense, but your worries are clearly unnecessary. Your uncle is the vice principal of the county's #1 middle school, so he has a certain social standing here and has connections with some wealthy bosses and leaders. If someone is truly blind and tries to use some despicable means to cut off the Chen family's source of wealth, I think my elder brother will definitely not sit idly by. When soldiers come, we will block them. When water comes, we will dam it. As long as you have enough value, relationships and connections will sometimes come to you automatically. And all we paid was a small fee. Compared to long-term business development, this paltry profit is nothing. My third uncle is a businessman. Although his business isn't very big, he knows all the ins and outs of it perfectly. Therefore, he had already thought of a way to deal with Chen Yang's concerns. Wealth can be very tempting. If you offer enough favors, someone will naturally step forward to help you solve your problems. In a small county town, interpersonal relationships and business dealings are all governed by this set of unspoken rules. He is confident that he can handle it well. Third uncle is right. I'm just being prepared and hoping my family can be mentally prepared. After all, business will definitely be good once our hot pot restaurant opens. Once it becomes famous, word will spread throughout the county. At that time, we will be thrust into the spotlight. If handled well, it can be a golden goose. If handled poorly, it may bring trouble to the family. Chen Yang analyzed with a serious expression. Chapter 155, Planning Ahead, Raising Employees' Salaries. If Chen Yang were to open the shop himself, given his capabilities, he naturally wouldn't worry about anyone causing trouble. But this hot pot restaurant was ultimately opened for the elders in the family. They may be good at business, but they might struggle to deal with these shady practices. Therefore, Chen Yang's concerns were not unfounded. However, after hearing his third uncle's words, Chen Yang realized that he was worrying unnecessarily. The elders may not have accomplished anything great, but their years of experience and their perspectives on issues still offer unique insights. The reason they couldn't fully utilize their talents before might have been due to limitations in funding or other factors. At this moment, Chen Yang helped them resolve these issues. On the contrary, they were able to unleash potential that he could not even imagine. Only then did Chen Yang feel more at